stream. I guess it might be streaming now. Let's see. YouTube always changes their stuff. Okay, it says I'm live. Wow. Yeah, like before it was just like I had to actually physically start the stream on YouTube. Like I had to click a thing before. Anyway. Hello everybody. Yeah, Borat 2 is pretty good. I'll have to fact check the
Rudy Giuliani.
Bruno controversy. Let's see. Palestinian man identified as a terrorist in Sacha Baron Cohen's satirical film Bruno has followed through with legal action against the British actor while extending his lawsuit to blah 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 to late night host David Letterman and others. Okay.
Yeah.
He's a West Bank shopkeeper. Is seeking $110 million. I don't know how this lawsuit went. But yeah, I mean, like, the best way I could probably defend them on that one would be that they thought it was like a funny joke to call someone a terrorist that wasn't, but I don't know if it really came off that way in the film. And if you listen to the commentary, like they're talking over the whole movie, you know, funny stories, funny jokes about like every scene. And then that one scene comes up and then it's just complete silence. And Barry Cohen and Larry Charles are both like, they just don't say anything over the entire scene, which leads me to believe that there was probably already legal issues during the recording of that commentary.
Do you think they said something and it got edited out?
No, it didn't appear that way to me. I think it was they both just pretended like they didn't have anything to say for that scene. It was really weird. What's funny is like they could have like probably just talked about something completely irrelevant or like another part of the movie over top of that scene, but so maybe it did get edited out. I don't know. But yeah, if you listen to the commentary for that movie, it's just like complete silence over that one scene.
What are you talking about?
Hello, hello.
Bruno.
Yeah, we were talking about Bruno. Your mic's a little quiet, Alex M. Yeah. Pretty quiet. No. Still I think you have another mic that's being picked up like across the room or something cuz I can't hear that.
I think it's this one.
Oh yeah, that's it. That's it
Yeah,
for sure. It's just pretty quiet.
Hey, I'm glad you liked the devil all the time.
Yeah, it was it was good.
It's the first time I've seen Bill Skarsgård, I think, in anything that made me, it stuck out to me at all.
Excuse me. Yeah, there's there's like 2 Skarsgårds, right? Are they related?
There's like 4 Skarsgårds.
Are any of them related?
Yeah, it's all one big family. It's Stellan Skarsgård.
Really?
The Marvel movies.
The Martin Baldwins.
Okay, I'll have to figure out which one's
the
which.
One from like Vampire Diaries or whatever it's called, True Blood or something.
Yeah, Alexander Skarsgård.
Alexander Skarsgård, yeah. Which
weird.
Yeah, they're all family. It's crazy.
Swedish acting family that's actually famous globally. That's so weird. Yeah.
And all of them have at least one movie that they're really good in.
Yeah.
Like I first saw Alexander in Generation Kill, and I was like, "Ooh, I need to keep an eye out on this guy." And then he just kept being in crap.
Is it better now?
Much better.
Thank you. Yeah, they're like the Martin Baldwins except Swedish.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if they're ever gonna have the recognition that the Baldwins had as a whole, but Stellan by himself is way up there.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's only one Baldwin that really matters. So.
Well, it depends if you're talking about quality or just like box office, though, because Steven was killing it for a long time in the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Steven is actually really good in The Squid and the Whale. That's like an actually good performance.
I'll have to even remember what he looks like.
Adam Baldwin is not related. There's
Biodome.
Oh yeah, there's
I see.
Stephen Baldwin, that guy.
The funny one.
That's made religious movies after Biodome, and
yeah.
Was it Steven that made religious movies after?
I don't remember his
I
name.
think it was.
Oh,
Yeah, he got
yeah.
all Jesus-y. He's one of those like skateboard. And
Yeah, I
tattoos.
see a lot of titles in the IMDb. Church
Yeah, and
people,
there's like
blood
and
pageant. That's not.
yeah, and there's like a John Wick ripoff of William Baldwin called Beckman. I don't know if William
What-
Baldwin is related.
Yeah, isn't there? There's like a Daniel or something. One of them was only in like one or two. Who was in Backdraft?
Oh,
I have no
Daniel
idea.
Baldwin.
There's a bunch of them.
There's
There's too many.
Yeah, there's like yeah.
Too many
there's
Baldwins.
like 4.
Yeah, the reason I'm
Anakin-
bringing Beckman
No.
up is because it was like, it's also like a Christian thing and was released by Pureflix.
Mm.
But I don't know what the moral message is supposed to be because like Beckman just like murders everybody, then just doesn't kill one guy, and that makes him good apparently.
It's
They
Ellie
should-
from Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
they should make the Baldwin brothers all have to like Hunger
Oh.
Games.
I just recognized what pretentious bloke's picture is from. Took me a while.
What is it from?
See if anyone can guess.
Music video.
Yeah. It's the-
Oh, was I not supposed to say?
It's the- no, it's fine. Yeah, it's the Scab music video for my album. It's just it was
Yeah.
kind of like in the corner of the frame in one part.
Yeah.
Awesome. I see Salamancer's got that creepy looking tails picture.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Hey, you said
Yeah,
you
I
didn't
still
like
don't know what
that
the context
photo.
is. I just know that it's supposed to be very, very disturbing, whatever that tails is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was explained to me, and I think I've repressed it already.
Yeah, you said you didn't like it in like the comment section.
'Cause it looks
of your,
creepy.
late Miss Brill's video or whatever. So why'd you have it as your profile picture?
You said,
Oh.
yeah,
Because it's funny.
it is funny.
Yeah.
That face just looks very disturbing. Even if there was no like pornographic implication, that smile is just too creepy.
Oh god. Yeah, I can't. I've like never seen like tails being associated with anything that creepy, unless you count these stupid .exe games that I see people
Mhm.
making. for free
I
or
don't know.
whatever.
Sonic is
Ball,
subject to like
that's-
some of the most depraved fetishes.
Oh,
Yeah,
God,
right?
No, don't even start.
Yeah, I
Um,
finally played Sonic Dreams Collection, so
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
yeah, it just got uploaded to the Plays Through
Congratulations.
channel.
Yeah, I saw that.
So hey, how excited are all of you guys for Jared Leto's Joker being in the Snyder Cut?
That sounds so funny.
Oh yeah.
It makes
Did you
the
see
Snyder
how
cut
nuts-
even better.
Did you see how nuts Armand White went after like Zack Snyder like retweeted like an ad for Biden? He was
Oh,
like,
really?
Zack Snyder
Oh,
suffering
no.
from Trump derangement syndrome.
Oh
And he, like,
no,
posted
please.
about it a
I need to
dozen
see
times.
this.
It's so hilarious. He wrote an entire article about it.
Oh,
Like,
really?
it's gonna alienate
Oh, my
half the
God, I
people
found
who
it.
Watch your movies, Snyder. Even
Oh,
though
that's
most
so
of
funny. The
ad was positive.
the Google title of the article says Zack Snyder's partisan tweet disappointing. And then you click on it, and I guess the title's been changed to Make Zack Snyder Non-Partisan Again. Holy
Yeah,
fuck,
he's
he's
like-
actually like so sad. His like
Yeah,
world is
top
shattered.
okay,
That's amazing. That's actually insane. Could you imagine
Yeah.
being like so disappointed that Zack Snyder made a tweet that was political in either direction?
Right.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
the
the
funny
thing everyone
thing
liked
is-
about Zack Snyder is that he wasn't political.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, Armand White is like, your politics are gonna alienate so many people, but Armand White just like beats up on liberals so much in his reviews.
Armand White is like the champion of alienating through politics
Yeah.
and like putting
Yeah.
them in where they don't belong in art.
Yeah,
That's like everything he's ever done.
yeah, it's so hilarious.
That's actually
And there
nuts.
was like one
Dude,
tweet he
are
did in which he was like, you know, talking about this new Steven Spielberg book that he did, and somebody replied to him saying, "Yeah, I don't like AI, artificial intelligence," and he responded saying, "You'll grow up one day." Like,
Wow.
that's just so stupid.
Did anyone hear if they're gonna do reshoots or anything, or is this just like cutting room floor?
I'm assuming it's reshoots.
For what?
It has to be reshoots.
The-
No way
Jared
it's
Leto.
not. They're spending millions of dollars on it. There's no way it's not reshoot.
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
yeah.
The reason I ask is
It's clear
I'm
that
just-
they're filming new shit.
Because I don't remember at all like articles about like Jared Leto Joker being in Justice
Yeah.
League at all.
oh, you're right. Yeah, I'm thinking
There would have been an
Suicide Squad,
article
you're right, good point.
before the Snyder Cut thing where it's
No,
like,
it's-
hey, Jared Leto was cut from the Justice League movie.
Yeah.
No, that's very true. You just think, so he must be seeing this as a way to make up for it and try to like redeem himself. 'Cause that was
Yeah,
one
I
of
don't
the
know. It's not going to be
biggest distance from
good.
it. No, of course not. I'm
No.
just trying to, in his mind, because he was in Blade Runner 2049 like not that long ago. Like he has good touchstones.
I
of
mean,
his
yeah,
acting
it's not
ability.
like Jared Leto's the most hated actor ever. It's just
No.
his
He was great in
interpretation
Recommend.
of the character was terrible.
No, I totally agree. So
And
if I'm him, I
cringe.
couldn't imagine wanting to go get involved in
Yeah.
that again and be like, "Hey guys, remember the worst thing I ever did? Let's do more." Like,
Yeah, like he's just probably going to do the same thing again. Right?
I'm an
No,
idea.
because now that we all know,
Well,
that
I
Zack
mean,
Snyder
I
is
hope
the best
so.
director ever.
That gives me a reason to, at the very least, Google clips of it whenever it comes out. Like I have
Yeah. No,
I'll
absolutely
probably see
no
it now
interest
because
in
of that.
this. It'll be very funny if it actually bombs. I don't know if it'll be released on digital or film, God knows whenever it's released, but it will be really funny if
It's
they
digital. They're
spend
putting it on HBO
millions
Max.
of dollars on it only for it to bomb harder than the original Justice League.
Well, I think it's going to be like Jurassic Park 2. Everyone's going to want to see it to see like the road accident, but then it's going to have an extremely
You
quick
mean
drop-off.
Jurassic World 2 or Park 2?
Park 2. Park 2.
Oh, so The Lost World with Jeff Goldblum?
Yeah, that one did really well opening day because everyone loved the first one so much, and then immediately it was like, oh, this is a pile of shit, and then it had like one of the highest openings to one of the quickest drop-offs ever.
Mhm.
Ooh,
Oh.
ouch.
So I think this will be like that too. At
I
minimum,
have
there's
no-
going to be
I
a
had
bunch of
no
assholes
idea.
like me watching it just out of curiosity, morbid curiosity.
Well, I mean, considering nobody liked Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, I assume that, like, you know, people at the beginning were just seeing the big blockbuster, and then only people who were interested in seeing how bad it is were starting to watch it, and that's it. But okay, I
Problem is
didn't
that-
know it was so hated when it came out.
Yeah, that old one was rough. Yeah. Well, especially if you compare them to the first one. The first one's like a genuinely good film.
The first
Yeah.
The first what?
The first Jurassic Park.
The first Jurassic Park.
Oh, not first Jurassic World. Okay.
No,
No,
well, that's the
no,
thing.
no.
With the first Jurassic World is so generic and popcorny that
Well,
I couldn't imagine being disappointed by the second one. If you
Well,
were
for
down
me,
with the
my
first
biggest issue with Jurassic World is just as a hypocrite on its messaging. Because like the whole thing with it is just like oh, we need to make this monster so that we can attract more audience. When like it's trying to make a note on like how all studios think that bigger means better.
Well, they're putting a hat on the fact that everyone used to keep Jurassic Park used to be the leaders of accurate dinosaur information. And then with the
Oh,
new
yeah?
ones, they couldn't do that because it would be boring. Well, that was kind of the big thing with the
Really?
first one, is that it was like, oh, this is the best information we have, and this is what they would be like. Now they would have to do feathers and make them smaller and kind of lame. And
Yeah.
so, as a concession, they put a hat on it and just pointed it out, like, hey, look, it's like we've talked about before. This bad.
It looks cooler this way.
Yeah, or like when Deadpool writes a bad joke and then they go, man, this is a bad line. It's like, no, you don't get out just because you
Yeah.
acknowledge that you did something stupid.
Yeah, we're self-aware.
I
so we
just
can
finished-
soar
I
above
just finished-
criticism.
Yeah, I just finished playing a very, very terrible game called Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Oh,
And one of...
Never heard of it.
Why? What's wrong, Adam?
I've heard of
Is
it.
that-
I don't know what it is. I'm listening.
Oh, well, it's a bad game, and one of its biggest problems is that pretty much every female character is sexualized.
Mhm.
In one part of the game, a female character says to a male character, like, criticizing him for being a pervert. But, I mean, look what you're doing. You're
Mm.
wearing
Excuse me,
nothing.
big boobs
The
aren't
filmmakers, the game makers are
sexualized,
criticizing
they're
perverts while being perverts. It's like you can't have your cake and eat it too. That's not how
Mhm.
it works.
Hmm.
Yeah, you're really interested in this bad JRPG I'm talking about.
They're big boobs. But
Yeah,
they fight.
yeah, exactly. Like looking up any female character in the game, you immediately know what game it's gonna be. And I mean, I had no faith in like the story or character design when starting to play it, but pretty much everything in that game is like botched, and I just don't like it at all.
Yeah.
But that's beside the point now. That's
Didn't like
not
the
relevant
gameplay in
to
the first
anything else.
one.
But the weapons
it's
I've
have
like
never
the
played
big
any of them.
boobs. The weapons have big boobs. That's so cool.
The weapons have boobs?
It's not cool.
The weapons have
That would be
boobs and
funny.
big
Yeah,
penises.
every
So
weapons are
cool.
people in the universe of that game. It doesn't make sense. It's like it
Okay.
pretends it has a universe of things to say, but it's so ham-fisted and dry. It's like it's an excuse for a plot rather than an actual plot.
Yeah, I got a
It's
question
like
for you guys.
pretending you have a purpose for making this.
Do y'all
It's
think
such
that
a
the
piece of
Uncharted
shit.
series has much more to be mined out of it as a movie franchise now versus what we already got from the games?
No.
What?
I don't
No.
either. I think the games are already so cinematic anyway, and they're
There's
kind of
there's nothing the movies
It's
can
like
add.
making a Last of Us movie.
That,
Oh
exactly.
wait,
That's how
Just
I feel.
it'll just be worse.
Mhm.
What games are you talking about?
Uncharted.
Uncharted
Uncharted's
and how
getting
they
a
should
movie.
make movies out of them.
Tom Holland's gonna
Yeah.
be Nathan Drake.
It'll just be Indiana Jones again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now,
Exactly.
but there's I guess
Tom
there's
Holland
a
looks okay.
money wise
Yes,
there's a question of like, is there room in the new market for another Indiana Jones? You know, for millennials.
I
to
mean,
see?
people
Not
will
millennials,
watch
but
it because Tom Holland's in it, so
yeah, sure.
it'll
Yeah,
make
that's
money
That's
for
actually a
sure.
thing. I thought you were joking.
Yeah,
No, it's
Tom
not.
Holland's Nathan Drake.
And Mark
That's-
Wahlberg, Sully.
Awful
Yeah, that's the
casting.
worst. Mark Wahlberg Sully makes me mad more so than
Yeah,
Tom Holland.
That's goofy casting.
What?
Yeah.
You
I
guys see
can't
the
wait
leaked
for it.
trailer for Chaos Walking?
See,
No.
Oh, it's
oh yeah, I saw the leaked trailer. It looked awful. This is just part of what I hate about it is because like every single Uncharted fan will tell you like, oh yeah, Nathan Fillion is Nathan Drake. It makes perfect sense, right? Or just like
Yeah.
like everybody has an idea of who should play the character, but it's not going to happen because Nathan Fillion isn't going to get people to watch the movie, whereas Tom Holland is going to get, it's the business side of it is
Well, and Nathan
dictating
Fillion
what's
back in the
happening.
Firefly era. Like he's
Sorry?
like 60 years old now.
Oh yeah, I mean
Fillion
he's a
back
lot
when
older,
Firefly
but
was out. Yeah, he's just too old now.
who knows? He could pull it off. But this could be an Uncharted movie set after the games.
Yeah,
Could
I
be
don't- it's
about
not the
him being
casting I'm
old.
mad about, it just looks
That's the
dumb.
purpose of ending them on the note that they ended on.
Well, same thing with Monster Hunter. It's like I'm not
Yeah.
mad about the casting. and the
Paul
changes they
W.
made.
S.
I just-
Anderson.
Yeah.
Making
The
another
other
video
Paul
game
Anderson.
movie starring Mila Jovovich about a Capcom IP.
I thought she
Line
was
in the trailer is, "What
done
are we,
with
the
this.
Guardians of the Galaxy?"
Yeah, look at the amount of dislikes the Monster Hunter trailer now has.
I think that's because of the
Ridiculous.
Monster Hunter fans though, because they changed it a lot.
I mean,
I'm not super mad about the changes. I just
who's
think it
So I
looks
think
dumb.
who's
there are
the
a lot
movie
more
for
reasons
if
to
not
dislike
Monster
the
Hunter
trailer.
fans, right? Like
Monster
why even
Hunter
take an
by Paul
IP
W.S.
that
Anderson.
exists already if you don't want to make it for the fans?
This happens.
Yeah,
every
that's
time.
so dumb.
They'll take something and they hope that the fans will prop it up, and then they try to get your grandma to see it somehow. So then they water them down and water them down. And
It's like how the early days of like the comic book movies. It was just like
yeah, exactly.
we'll have the
right.
name and the name
Mhm.
only, and then adapt whatever we want.
Absolutely, all the X-Men will wear black leather because
Yeah.
the Matrix was awesome, and we don't want anyone being alienated. So yeah, you're right. The people that they made it for are the people that they were like embarrassed of and didn't think would make enough money off of. Yeah,
It is weird.
That's what like film series said. They said that like the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League can't fail because it was made for the fans, no matter how bad it actually is.
See,
Or
The
good.
thing is, how many
whatever.
hardcore fans are there that really want this? Is it just like a very vocal minority, or is it a majority?
the other problem too is we've seen this whole like crowdsourcing thing for like the fans that they want. A perfect example is Kevin Smith with Tusk. That was literally like Twitter and being like, hey, thumbs up if you guys want this, and a resounding amount of people said they wanted it.
Hashtag
well,
war.
because if you ask the question, should I make something, then people are gonna say yes.
Yes.
It's like, should I
Yes.
post a video about, and then just like any subject ever, and then people will say yes on Twitter if you leave it up to a poll. Like, yeah, people will want you to do something instead of not do something.
Not do something, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
Tusk
It
was
a
terrible.
super fun podcast to hear him work out the story with Mosier. Like that was hilarious, and the movie isn't as good as a conversation on a podcast.
Oh, yeah, that it was a terrible movie.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
What was?
Tusk.
Tusk.
Oh,
Or
yeah.
any Kevin Smith movie made in the past like 20 years, honestly.
Yeah,
How about Clerks? Have you seen that?
I'm not
Yeah.
a huge Clerks fan.
Clerks is good.
I think Dogma is one of the better ones.
How about Clerks 2?
Yeah, Dogma is like the guilty
I haven't
pleasure
seen
for me.
Clerks
It's like
2.
very overt about its messages, but that's also kind of the charm at the same time.
Well,
It's ever since like Clerks 2, I want to say, whatever he made like between Clerks 2 and Jay and Bob Strike Back, like that's the point where he started becoming no longer charming and just making trash. Although
Yeah.
apparently the Jay and Silent Bob reboot movie is okay. No idea if that's a thing or not.
someone in the chat
Nobody
said
saw
it should be Nathan Fillion and Sam Elliott. I like that a lot.
Sure. Just like Mark Wahlberg as Sully doesn't make any fucking sense.
No sense. That's
No, it
really
doesn't.
genuinely bad casting.
Yeah.
That's awful casting.
Just change the character completely.
That's way worse than Tom Holland. The only problem
And he
with Tom
looks
Holland is
nothing
that
like
he
him
just
either.
doesn't. He's not an imposing force, so that's why it works.
Yeah, even in his like the photo that got released, I'm like, you're not that big. You're still
He
like,
was like son of.
yeah, you're still like young and kind of skinny, right? So
You know how
it's
the
not
fourth one ended with his daughter being interested? I was amazed that they, especially in today's political climate, that they didn't go for the Nathania Drake or whatever.
for the movie,
Yeah.
no, because nobody knows that character.
Right.
They'll do that for the next game, or they'll have a spin-off game or whatever.
Yeah.
But
They already had a spin-off game with Chloe.
yeah, but she's a different
they could
kind
make a
of
Chloe
female
movie.
character.
Oh, sketch screen.
But I mean, I wonder if we'll almost forever be in a place where there will be room for a Indiana Jones. And so this will kind of, this potentially, if it did well and the Gen Z market ate it up, this could be kind of that next 10 years of like, this is their Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
But it already happened.
With what?
Uncharted. It already exists.
No, but I'm saying like movie wise.
Yeah.
It's called Indiana Jones.
Well, it was, but it's just, this happens. It's like
The
everyone
Tomb
thinks,
Raider
"Oh, man."
movies.
The Tomb Raider movies.
Yeah.
I was going to bring them up. I don't know how well they did. They had to do okay, though.
The first one with Angelina Jolie did good enough to have a sequel.
Okay.
Did you know that like Disney is like making another movie based off one of its theme park rides? It's called like
No.
Jungle Cruise. It's with
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
Rock.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
it's
Oh,
just the
Jungle Cruise,
Jumanji
yeah, of
movie
course.
with The Rock again.
What's
Yeah,
really
man.
crazy? Do you guys know
It's
about
terrible.
the
Yeah.
lore of the corny jokes with Jungle Cruises?
No.
What?
That's like
Oh
that's
my
like a
God.
old thing that's been around
Oh.
forever. Is that Jungle Cruise guys? There's lots of like early YouTube. There would be videos of Jungle Cruise guys like telling really weird cheesy jokes, and it got really popular. And it became like anyone who's one of those like underground, like Jenny Nicholson kind of people. I guarantee she knows all about this. Where it became like a thing where they're competing with each other of who had the cornier jokes. And then the trailer came out, and I was like, holy shit! He's literally telling the jokes, like some of the famous jokes from like
Oh, wow.
Jungle Cruise. That was
I had
so
no idea.
trash, but I was really blown away that was such a deep cut. Like that was weird. The whole like, oh look, the back of water, that kind of stuff. Like that. Was
It is kind of surprising how successful movies based on their theme park rides can actually be. Because Pirates of the Caribbean was a huge fucking success.
Bro, that was
What
that
about
was,
the
that
Haunted
was kind
Mansion?
of surprise.
Yeah,
when
the
it
Haunted
came
There,
out.
there's a
That
few
was
reasons for that.
It's also
It was
just
a
good movies.
surprise.
Johnny Depp.
And when it first came
Sure.
out.
I just think that there's like potential. The Haunted Mansion could be a great animated movie if
Sure.
like they
Mhm.
put like a lot of effort into it.
Yeah.
And like kept like the references and the themes and the humor and the style accurate. Like they could do a lot of great stuff with what they already have.
Liam, I've seen a bit of Trailer Park Boys. Not a whole lot. I'll probably go through the series at some point. But yeah, I'm aware of it. I've seen bits, but just haven't,
Have you ever
marathoned
seen
it.
The Office?
Thank you, though. Yeah, I've seen both versions of The Office. I loved the American version when I was younger. And I think around season 6 or 7, I could not watch anymore. Yeah, season 7 for sure. It just got so fucking awful, and then I had to
Yeah, it
dip.
got really bad
And
after that.
then afterwards, I watched the British series, and it was much better.
I
Yeah.
liked how Ricky Gervais put it. He said the big difference with our comedy styles is that in America, children are told that they can be anything, they can be the president, and it's true. And in England, you're told it won't happen to you, and we carry it with us. And so there's this comedy thing about who's the funny character in a scene that is generally very different, you know, between baseline comedies in America and baseline in England.
Yeah, The Office was good for its time. It was a show that existed in that time period that, you know, it was appropriate for the time period. But now it's difficult to watch. Now it's difficult to actually go back into the older episode, like into the US show. I find it difficult to watch, like any episode from any season.
Like seasons 8 and 9 in particular are like where the show really lost it. It's just like unwatchable.
I think I was in season 7 when I was like halfway through the season, and I was like, I haven't laughed the entire season, and I just shut it off. It's like, why am I even watching this? Like, I'm not entertained by it. I'm just kind of bored.
Season 7 had some funny moments, particularly towards the beginning, in my opinion. I like the musical sequence at the beginning of season 7. Remember that?
No, I don't.
You know,
I don't remember it at all.
Thing when they were all lip syncing to this one song.
I don't remember any of that. The most I remember, the latest I remember, is like the wedding scene in I think that was at the end of season 6, and it was really, really, really cringe having like each character like go in front of the camera and dance one at a time. I was like, holy crap, that's like
that was a reference to something, right?
Unpopular opinion.
What was that a reference to?
That was a viral YouTube video, and so that's why they.
Oh, that bullshit! No. I know that the song choice was a reference to that.
But Jim Krasinski, actually married
it was still really, really, really cringe.
I mean, fair enough, but at least it wasn't like the writers just wrote that and thought it would be a cool idea.
I mean, that's
like,
literally what happened. Is they wrote that and thought it would be a cool idea.
Jim Krasinski actually like married a couple people over Zoom using that song. You know, it's kind of a recent video that came out a few months ago, and the entire Office cast showed up over Zoom.
Oh
yeah. Wait a minute. Didn't the person that who wrote that song, was it like Chris Brown or somebody?
Yeah. Well, he sang. I don't know if
Chris
he
Brown.
It's like like that was a Chris Brown song, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
That pissed me off too. It's not like by the time season 6 happened, people weren't aware that he was a gigantic piece of shit.
I think his controversy stuff happened before the show even came out.
Way before. That's like I was like in school.
I think it was 07 or 06 or something like that.
Yeah, I was like in fucking junior high or high school.
Yeah.
So it's I'm confused.
What's that, Augie?
Oh, I'm sorry. I just came in. I was confused what was happening.
Oh,
we're talking about Chris Brown being a piece of shit.
Yeah, he's a guy who like cancel culture never could stick to.
It's one of those things where it's like if nobody in your audience cares that you're one of the biggest pieces of shit on the planet, then I guess you can just keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you've curated an audience of people that have no morals, then you can keep going.
I remember when I was in high school, some girl had a presentation on who she looks up to, and it was Chris Brown. I don't think you want to meet him.
Well, I would hear people say stuff like people would tweet and be like, "Oh yeah, he could beat me. I don't care." Like,
oh yeah. There's that Chris Brown is the line that I draw. Otherwise, I'm against cancel culture, but Chris Brown, I'm
I'm against
Brown's
mob mentality.
He said Enter the UK was declined because of his like history and stuff.
Well, and I'm always for people voting with their wallets and stuff like that, which is cool. I'm not a huge fan of when someone is like, I don't like H3 anymore, so I'm contacting their sponsors to get pulled out. Like that kind of stuff is where it gets very mob rule. And part of the problem is that a lot of the times the mob is not very interested in justice, and they just like that they have a taste of power of something. So they're like,
there's people that jump in that have no context for anything and are just there to be a part of the mob.
I've seen it happen to Adam, so firsthand, you know.
Yeah.
There's an entire Boondocks episode about people just choosing not to pay attention to cancel culture and just love people because of the music and shit that they make. The trial of R. Kelly.
It's a weird one because I'm in that boat where it's like Michael Jackson's dead. If I dance to Bad in a bar, you know, it's not really affecting anything. But if I go and buy a new R. Kelly record, I'm kind of supporting him. So like I have, you know, I try to take things on case by case basis.
Yeah,
It's kind of difficult sometimes. Like I vowed not to spend any money on any Amazon stuff if I can avoid it. Like they have enough money. But like Amazon and Apple, now that the streaming wars are starting, I have no choice but to torrent stuff like the new Borat movie or Wolfwalkers whenever that comes out, because that's gonna be like an Apple TV exclusive. And
that sucks.
Like voting with your wallet. Sometimes it's easier to do so. Sometimes it's easier not to do so.
I bet.
And I want to support like Cartoon Saloon, who made Wolfwalkers, and Sacha Baron Cohen and stuff.
Yeah.
But all that money.
I just
also
want there
goes
to be
Amazon.
like physical releases
Sucks.
also. It's like if
Yeah.
Apple still
Netflix movies
owns
have made it in
the license
Criterion.
and they make money from the physical sale, that's fine, but I would like to have the option. They can still make money through it the same way, but the problem is they don't want the physical sale because they want you to pay for a streaming service and forget that you own it. And then constantly they want to take $100 from you over the course of a year rather than $20 from you once.
Once in a while.
I bet Steven Crowder would make a change my mind saying cancel culture's fake.
Well, no, because generally people on the right are more annoyed by it. But it's like I said, the problem is that there's a big world of nuance out there, and Twitter is not a great place to consolidate any of that nuance.
Oh yeah.
Twitter's the worst place to be having any kind of conversation.
Yeah, I saw the fight you got into with somebody over Moonlight or whatever, when they were like, "Ooh, you're beating up on R&B music."
Yeah, those people. Well, I'm glad that I engaged in that conversation because by the end of it, I had learned what made me feel better about it is that the people within that entire conversation there had not seen my videos, and they didn't know who I was, or had they were literally just people who were who wanted to be upset at something, and the person who made the videos watched maybe one of my videos or something. So it was nice to learn that by engaging in that conversation. Otherwise, the goal wasn't necessarily to change one person's mind, let's say, because that was impossible. The person I was interacting with there, they had created their own version of reality that they were not going to budge from. So
I think people get sunk cost fallacies when they're on the internet arguing, because then they feel like if they were to say, you know what, now that you've given me more information, I've changed my mind, it would look like a loss in some kind of.
Oh yeah, that's it's such a stupid, childish mentality to have. If people are, if I were to go into a debate or discussion with somebody about having different opposing views, the idea is to understand the other person, for me. Exactly. But a lot of people don't see it. I mean, most people, I would say, don't see it that way. They just see it as oh, who wins? I'm gonna win.
Well, we've also
right? It's
put so
that's
much
not
energy into the idea of getting dunked on, and it's Ben Shapiro destroyed this guy. So that doesn't help that we've created this culture around it. I think that we should treat arguments like Pokemon, where it's I present my argument and you have your argument, and these are not representatives of me as a whole person. And if
one needs to beat the shit out of each other,
instead of out of me and you, so if my Pokemon loses, then I don't feel like I've lost and I'm a bad person who has no value. It's just
people have bonds with their Pokemon. If you never played Pokemon in Black and White,
they do. That's the problem, though. People treat it as if they're one and the same. So then if I lose the argument,
it's a bad analogy, is what I'm trying to say.
No, I think it's a good analogy.
If Pokemon were not living creatures, I think it would be a better analogy.
Well, they're not. Video game.
Well, in the universe of Pokemon, there are.
I'm not saying,
what about in the universe of the TCG world on Game Boy? What if you're in the trading card one, then they're not living in real? Yeah.
Yeah, they should treat them like Yu-Gi-Oh!
Or Pokemon Rumble, where they're toys. That's better, I guess.
Sure.
I don't know.
Because that's the thing.
Yeah.
If you can go and be like, hey, look, here's my argument to the best of the knowledge I have, and then someone comes in as a better argument, then you should be able to say, okay, hey, you know what, fair enough, that makes more sense, without it being this like, oh, I got dunked on, I'm a piece of crap, and that guy, is better than me.
Yeah, speaking of that, what'd you think about the
Oh.
Thursday night presidential debate, Adam?
Oh, somebody asked
Not
about
even his
pretentious
country.
vote.
No, I watched it
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was stupid. It was dumb.
As usual, I mean that's
I don't like
expected.
either of them.
That's expected.
If I was
also.
in the
the
States, I'd
moderator
probably
did a
vote for
better
Biden, but only
I like
because
Biden.
Yeah, I don't like either of them. I fucking hate both of them. But
Yeah, you made a Twitter
Yeah,
post
that's
saying,
understandable.
I
I mean,
can't
I
wait for
wanted
Biden
other-
to win, so
There's
I can
definitely
see
other
him
people I
not
wanted
fulfill any of
over.
his campaign promises.
There's
Yeah,
definitely
I mean,
other
to me,
people.
they're
I want.
like the same person, even though they pretend not to be. Because Biden, like, if you look at his history as a politician, he like did a lot of stuff that Trump now condones. Like, if you look back, like, there's footage of him from like 2006, basically saying to build the wall. They're not very different at all.
yeah,
doesn't
it depends.
fully-
It depends how much charitability we give to like what he's saying his platform is now. Because yeah, if we go based off of like both of their entire histories, then both of their histories would be entirely contradictory. Like Trump ran on saying like he would give everybody health care, right? He also said he'd drain the swamp. Like the current Trump is incredibly contradictory to Trump even 4
like,
years ago.
Trump
So
said he was pro-choice like a long time ago, and now look at him now wanting to defund the Planned Parenthood. So
yeah, like it both of them are just all over the fucking place. So the only thing you can
I
kind of
think
judge either of them on right now is like what they're currently doing. And so if I mean like based on Biden's current platform, if he does any of the things that he says he's going to do, then it seems like a better option in my opinion.
I think that like I don't think there's a single perfect politician. I mean, I loved Obama, but I still had my many issues with him. But it's just I see people say settle for Biden, but the way I look at it, I think we've had to settle for every single one of our presidents.
Oh, of course, that's true.
Everyone's bought and paid for is part of the big issue, and we lost. Like we've gotten bullied in the primaries. There was a bunch of people that the people actually were interested in, but everything had been pulled to make it so that they got another neocon in. So these problems are starting so much earlier than the general elections. Like,
like lines at the polls, views disappearing, the Iowa caucus stuff.
Well, but that's
was
even
just-
right. But even if you're not talking about like the weird,
it's rigged, like the
stuff, it's just
2016
the fact that
stuff. It's equally rigged, and they
just-
try to make it seem like it's not so. The Democratic Party wants the nominee to be somebody that it likes, and so it's willing to go through voter suppression for that. Like waiting in lines for hours to vote. It's not something that a really completely free speech democratic
I
country
still
has
think
to
those
go
are
through.
symptomatic problems, though. I think our real problems that start earlier start with that we have a Senate and a Congress full of people who are lifer politicians who have had the hands of big companies in their pockets forever. Nancy Pelosi will be here after Trump. She was here before Trump.
It was
Lindsey
very after
Graham,
like
all of these people.
Alec Reagan, even before that, possibly.
That's what I'm saying. So we have this major issue where we have, in essence, what some would call like a deep state, or just if you want to call them these lifer politicians who they've been controlled by Raytheon and Boeing. I mean, these warnings came out.
Establishment, there's a bunch of terms.
Well, right. So it's a huge problem. And so by the time we get to the presidency, that is like a symptom of a symptom of a symptom. And we'll start getting better presidents.
Donald Trump, like if you replace him with somebody else, there's going to be like a bunch of people left. It's still like, even if you get somebody who's the complete opposite, like a far leftist as the president, there's still going to be corrupt people.
Everyone who runs everything else is still the same people, and it's all the same war hawks and stuff. The big problem with Biden and Trump is that the reason that they're not that different is because both of their substance actual arguments for like policy things are just up to the highest bidder. And so the Democratic Party is just the Republican Party light. And the biggest difference between any of the
biggest difference between them is like their social views, not political or economical or stuff like that.
Well, and it's not even a real view, as you already pointed out. Trump doesn't actually believe any of the stuff that he's saying because he had all the exact opposite opinions a while ago. This is just what the party wants from Republicans.
Chris
but
Rock
all
said
of them
it-
are like that.
Chris Rock said best where like we got rid of the kings and queens so we can elect Duchess and Dutch.
Well,
Trump-
we had good ideas on the start. The problem is that all of power and dominance hierarchy in the world has been distributed down to just dollars. And so whatever you can do to get more of the dollars, especially if you're in a society that's a Western society where we're not a honor society, you can be unbelievably dishonorable. But if you have a lot of money and a lot of power, everyone still listens to you and lets you be the president. So we have this problem now where everything is up to the highest bidder.
Yeah, yeah. The American system in particular really exacerbates that.
There's a lot of corruption there that just people don't open their eyes to, and the more you learn, the more the more unfortunate it gets. Like it goes all the way back to like the 1950s, toppling the Iranian or Iraqi government because they like didn't agree with America's oil policies. They didn't want to privatize it or something. They nationalized it instead of privatizing.
Yeah,
way back.
there's been a long issue of a domino effect, basically. Shit that should have been addressed like 70 years ago, and because nobody gave enough of a shit, now it's like basically unfixable.
Exactly. I couldn't put it better myself.
We also do this
I
thing
didn't know
where
how to
every new
describe it, but
president
yeah.
has some kind of crisis that he's like, hey, give us just a little bit more power so that we can get through this crisis. And then once it's over, I promise I'm going to give it back. And it never happens.
I just feel like it's very rare for a president to only have one term, and that's why I'm like not even shocked if Trump does win.
I think they should only have one term, though. I think 1 6-year term would make a lot more sense than 2 4s because they end up spending the whole first 4 just trying to get reelected.
They have it in Mexico. In Mexico, they have one like 6-year term.
Yeah.
But
I also don't like the idea of a president, period. I think Joe Rogan put it really well, where he's like, this one guy is supposed to be in charge of who we go to war
So
with,
it
but
should be
also
like-
creating more jobs.
Wait,
I
It's
mean,
the Ubermensch kind of problem that we have.
I mean,
It's more of a symbol for the country than anything.
So then
If that's the case, then he should be like the
they
queen
like to
and not have any
follow a
power.
leader. They like a symbol more than anything.
That's fine, though. Give us a
Like
king.
this idea that there's somebody big who knows what's good
no,
for you.
it's
He's
bad.
leading the
I
country.
think it's a
This
bad idea.
very archaic, powerful leader mentality. That's
Well, that's
just
what I'm saying, though. Give us someone like Queen Elizabeth who basically just signs checks, you know?
My country voted for blackface.
Yeah. So we're no better.
Yeah, I saw your tweet about that in like the Borat movie. That was
I will
funny.
die on this hill. That is not blackface.
But I mean, the difference between Canada and America's system is that Canada is more parliamentary, and like even if Justin Trudeau or any other is dangerous, he doesn't have the power to do much damage.
The worst part about Canada is like we have like first past the post, which means that
We're like America, I mean.
Yeah, we have an X amount of parties, so we can have like the liberal, conservative, New Democrats, and like so it always gets down to like a 30-30 split.
But you have a more representative parliament, like you have Democrat, independent.
There's a lot of improvements that could be made, and I hate first past the post also, but I'm glad that it's not America.
Some of the huge problems we have are we let certain problems get too big in the first place, and now it's kind of
exactly.
So, like,
America's too far gone. I don't think it's possible to save America.
Yeah, America's like over $1 trillion in debt or whatever.
Well, that's part of it, but a lot of it is like the two-party system. The two parties are so powerful that if the progressives were to try to break off of the Democratic Party, then the Republicans would just win forever.
Yeah.
Because they'd be consolidated still. So we can't just break up into smaller pieces without having those kinds of problems. Another big issue we have is like healthcare. Part of why it's hard to have something like the NHS is that the NHS got created before there was a whole bunch of price gouging on medicine. And so in America, now that it costs like $700 for an EpiPen, the cost of an NHS for us would be through the roof.
I mean, yeah, ideally you'd get rid of the price gouging too if you...
Right, you'd have to start with that.
Yeah. One of the bigger issues is just the fact that these healthcare companies are so massive and pay for every politician. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it's just
all
lobbying.
the corporations. We're a corporatocracy.
Exactly. Yeah.
Lobbying is just an legal.
What's hard though is that lobbying is good at its function. You need to have representatives who are like, hey, we are the lobby of kindergarten students who need lunches or something like that. The problem is that not every lobby has the same amount of money. So the oil lobby controls way more than the kindergarten lunches.
I just don't think it should be illegal to be a corporation donating to politicians.
That's fair. That's totally fair.
I think that's literally just legalized bribery.
That's totally fair.
Obey.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's gonna be it's someone brought up a great point on Reddit about how America is going to end up like England, where we're going to basically have this idea. Well, I guess we're there now, but it's going to get worse, where it's going to be American exceptionalism will never die as we turn into a completely irrelevant country.
Yeah.
I will rather die before America becomes England again. Fuck that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like it's such a weird position right now because
I'm not so sure because
I think the whole
mean,
reason America was created was so it could be different from England.
Yeah.
You have to buy a lot of propaganda if you're going to say the only reason America did this, that, or the other thing. Like,
but the youth now is very much aware of that problem. Like is more critical of it themselves, less nationalistic in a way. At least the majority of the youth. I mean, it's generational stuff, I think.
No, well, I don't mean in every single aspect, but I just mean as far as that kind of haughty Great Britain feeling, even though you're not Great Britain, you haven't been for such a long time.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. You know?
Yeah.
Not in every way. Well, another great quote about Americans, and I believe this to my core because I'm part of it, is Americans don't warm up to socialist ideas because we don't see ourselves as a proletariat who's being put upon by the authoritarians. We see ourselves as temporarily embarrassed millionaires.
That's hilarious.
That's a good one.
So I'll die for the rights of millionaires not to get their taxes raised because I swear to God I'm going to be one tomorrow.
Yeah, it's a weird it's a weird brainwashing thing where it's like people are somehow convinced to fight for the rights of people who are oppressing them, basically, and not just the rights, literally like to fight for their ability to oppress you.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. It's very, I mean, not to compare everything to 1984, but literally like that's what's kind of happening in 1984 is like that inter-party system is like I'm just a little.
I have never seen a Western first world country so brainwashed as American citizens. Honestly,
I think a lot of it is how young we are. I think that we can. So, like, I had a boss who was from China, and we were talking about how for her lineage goes back to like the ancient ones, you know. But for us, it's like my great granddaddy came to America, and someone gave him a gun, and he turned around and shot the British in like one. He turned around and he killed all the Indians, and then took over America. You know, so we have like we all have this like born of giants kind of thing. You know, it's like I'm an American. God damn it! The only thing I know about war is we don't lose them because we don't talk about Nam.
Except Vietnam in 1812.
Well, right, exactly. You know, so it's really worked. I think part of it too is that the propaganda wasn't about the party. It wasn't like the country is great and you're a peon who needs to serve the country. It was like you're awesome.
Speaking of American politics, has anyone seen Trial of Chicago 7 yet?
No, it looks bad.
I enjoyed it.
I don't like Aaron Sorkin. I like The Social Network. I kind of like A Few Good Men, but I'm not gonna watch a film just because. Like the main selling point is that he made it, but I'm not a big fan of his, so I'm not watching it.
Yeah, I've heard people say that it's like really boring because it's just people like sitting in a courtroom and stuff.
Hey, that can be great.
That can be entertaining. It can be very entertaining. The question is
12 Angry Men's
how
awesome.
it's presented.
I thought it was a Michael Jordan documentary.
The Last Dance.
Yeah.
I just heard that it was like Oscar bait, and I have a very low tolerance for those kinds of movies. So
yeah, seems like it. Like apparently,
it looks Oscar baity.
Post about how Sacha Baron Cohen is playing like an anarcho-communist in that movie, and he's saying the system is flawed. The system is great. We just need to take care of the people currently leading it, which is completely apparently against what the person he's playing would have said in real life. It's like dumbing down things.
According to the movie, he's trying to like dress up like the hippies. So he's not exactly a hippie. He's just dressed up as what the government thinks he's supposed to be. So that's.
Well, I don't know. I didn't see the movie. I don't know the person he's based on, but I mean, yeah, it's like not surprising that an American movie would like dumb down the politics. Whatever. I don't care about that movie.
Did you guys see the trailer for Black Judas or Judas and the Black Messiah?
No.
For the what?
I don't know what that is.
Judas and the Black Messiah. It's got that cat from Get
I
Out.
usually
It's
don't watch
got
movie
Lakeith
trailers at all.
Stanfield.
What is that?
It's a trailer that played before.
Oh
Tenet.
wait, no, I think I did. Yeah.
Yeah, you must have saw it before Tenet.
Seen what?
Yeah, I saw a trailer for this.
Judas and the
Judas
Black
and the
Messiah.
Black
I didn't
Messiah.
watch very far into the trailer. I think I just added it to my watch list because people said it looked interesting.
It looks interesting. So here, I don't know if the movie's gonna be good, but the trailer looked really awesome, and it's one of those things like you said last month where it's like that doesn't sell me on if the movie's gonna be good because the trailer's very intentionally edited.
It can be entirely different than the movie.
It could.
Usually is, honestly.
So I've been making for October. I made like a horror movie bucket list, and there's a couple I wanted to like recommend to you, Adam, and a couple, and you guys too, because I think like these are like really good.
Go ahead.
So one of them that I really love, and I still have a lot to go since October's not over. I'm actually rewatching Climax tonight, and that'll be fun. And so one that I really wanted to recommend that I loved was David Cronenberg's The Brood.
Okay.
That's a film called Reanimator.
I've seen that.
Oh, I saw that.
That's supposed to be very gory and violent, apparently.
Reanimator is fucking weird, like, especially the ending. Especially the ending. That's like what makes the
Showtime
movie.
subscription.
Yeah, I saw that a while ago. I guess I didn't rate it.
That Cronenberg's son.
Yeah, I saw that. It wasn't good.
Oh.
Yeah. What about antiviral? I'll tell you what it's about. You said you didn't remember seeing it, but let me just pull up the plot synopsis. Maybe that'll jog your memory.
If I don't remember seeing it, I don't know what's the point in trying to remember seeing it.
In a blackly satirical near future, a thriving industry sells celebrity illnesses to their obsessed fans.
Yeah, I think I watched the first like 10 minutes and shut it off.
Oh.
Well, and the last one, I think this is already on your watch list, but I just want to like double emphasize because I like it because like remind you of it because it's like really like one of the most anxiety inducing films I've ever seen.
Sure.
Like it actually blew me away. It's called Angst. It's from 1983.
I believe that's on my watch list.
Yeah.
It's great.
I just can't emphasize how good that movie is. It's just like blew me
it is
away.
on my watch list.
Even more anxiety inducing than like Uncut Gems. All right. Actually, no,
I
I
didn't
just
think
looked
that
it up.
was
They're very
anxiety
different.
Dude, Uncut Gems, I had to pause it like 4 times. I couldn't.
I just
That's
didn't.
funny.
I think that's really just because I didn't find it that engaging. I thought
I
it
was unbelievably engaged. I literally had
thought
to
it
be
was
like
kind
hang
of
off my roommate for a while.
Yeah, I was really engaged.
I almost
I
had a
just
panic
thought it was-
attack.
I want to watch it again.
I don't know. I thought it was kind of repetitive.
I had a hard time with Good Time because of it. I saw it
Oh, really?
first, and then like next day went and saw Good Time, and I just the whole time felt like I was watching the building blocks of Uncut Gems. And I was.
Yeah.
Really
I think
mad
Good Time's
'cause if I'd
better.
seen- No shit.
That's how I feel about
If I saw
Uncut
it
Gems.
first, I think I would have enjoyed it a lot more.
That's how I felt about.
Why do you
Uncut
think Good
Gems.
Time is better?
I think the music's better. I think the acting's better. The characters better. There's better emotions for me. It's more varied in its emotions. Uncut Gems is like fairly one note. I think that Good Time has a lot more to offer, especially the beginning and ending of the film.
That's what I
Scene in
felt,
Uncut
like, I
Gems
just
with
feel like-
Adam Sandler when he like broke down in his office with his like girlfriend or something.
Sure. What
Yeah,
about
no,
it?
The whole movie worked perfectly on me the whole time. Everything it wanted me to feel, I felt.
Okay.
I just felt like I was watching Good Time again. I don't know.
Well, and maybe that's it. Maybe
It was
whatever
different
one I saw-
enough for me. I didn't.
Yeah, Good Time didn't feel like the same movie to me, but it felt like a lot of the beats. To me, it came across as more sophomoric than the other one. It was kind of like they nailed it in Uncut Gems, and they got really good practice with Good Time.
Uncut Gems was the movie they've been wanting to make for like 10 years or whatever.
Yeah, I
and
heard
the only
about that,
reason they made Good Time was because Robert Pattinson emailed them and said, you know, he really enjoyed Heaven Knows What or something. Maybe I'm not getting that right. Anyway, the Safdies like.
No,
wrote
makes sense. That's like the
screenplay for
one the
Good
movie they
Time
made right before it.
for him. Yeah.
Hey, Adam, how do you feel about funny games?
I love it.
Ah,
The U.S.
I love
version,
it.
particularly, I love it.
Oh, I saw the
US version.
What?
I saw.
No,
See,
so I didn't know. I didn't know it was Haneke again. I thought that it was.
It's yeah. It's like him
douchebag,
making
so I
the
assumed it
movie
was
that he would have made.
The trailer reminded me a lot of the Clockwork Orange's trailer when.
Oh yeah, that was an intentional callback to Clockwork Orange.
I
That was
thought it
an
was gonna
homage.
be like "Let Me In" versus "Let the Right One In."
No.
Ooh.
This same director, just different
that's-
actors.
Not for shot, just better.
Yeah, it's there's nothing about it that I don't think is improved. Really.
No way. Okay,
I would
'cause the first
agree,
one is so
but-
good. Okay, awesome.
I mean, I'll watch
Yeah,
the first
it's
one again.
amazing.
I've only seen it once. It's just like every time I want to watch funny games, I'll put in the US
Watch
version.
the new one. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw. I actually never seen the US one, but I saw the first one a couple of days ago, and it actually really. blew
Oh,
me
that's
away.
funny. Small world.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's so funny because there's so many purists that, like, outside of my community, people will be like, "Man, this is just so much better than the US version." I don't understand why. I don't understand
Well,
why
it's
people would say that. I
don't
don't think
know,
there's
I guess
anything
they-
that isn't improved in the US version.
Yeah, I only found
think
out like
it's
a year
'cause they
ago. The
just-
same guy.
I think it's just because they were hoping for more of a surprise than a beat for beat.
Well,
don't know
like,
what
I
it
think I think they're
was,
used to it. It's
but-
like we've been trained that old boy. You know, it's like we've just been trained that the
Funny
American
Games
remakes
US
are-
is
Yeah,
Funny
and
Games remastered. It's like the better version. It's the it runs
And
better.
I
it
mean,
has all
like the ideas that it's getting at without spoiling it, like the
It's more relevant for an American
that's
audience.
exactly why he did it. Yeah, it's because this is a message about American films, really.
I guess it just makes more.
Yeah.
I feel like
It's also really funny to see how many more like negative reviews like the remake got than the original.
Because it's a different audience.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
people were
yeah.
expecting something entirely different.
Do you think Benny's video is almost the same? Like it was like his first attempt at doing the same theory.
Sorry? Oh, Benny's video?
Yeah. 'cause it
I
feels
think
like
he's
almost the
kind of
same.
like communicated a lot of the same ideas throughout his whole filmography in a way.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
like
I wasn't
Anti-Media,
really a
it's
fan of
in
Benny's
Benny's
video.
video, it's in 71 Fragments, it's
Yeah.
in Funny Games, it's in Happy End, and maybe kind of Cachet, if maybe.
In a way.
Yeah,
if
I'll
you
be
analyze
Cachet.
it that way.
Sketch Screen asked if you saw the response Confused Matthew gave to your rant.
Yes. Yeah. I'll probably talk to him on Twitch at some point. I'll probably organize something.
Two things. One, just like Augie recommended something, I want to recommend something too. It's
Sure.
Ingmar Bergman's horror movie, Hour of the Wolf. It's very, very slow. It's all about just building up to the climax of the movie. If I had to compare its structure to anything, it's Antichrist, although Antichrist has more shocking things at the beginning. Hour
Okay.
of the Wolf is way more psychological and subdued, just seeing the characters talk and their interactions and how it eventually culminates. The ending of that movie is amazing.
I wonder if this
the
is
acting is amazing. The cinematography, I love Bergman, and pretty much every subject matter that he tackles, he does in the same way. Like same actors, handful of locations, dialogue that talks about something much grander, but it's always a different subject matter and slightly different tone. Well, I mean, it's slower than Antichrist's elements. It's even slower. It's like it can be religion, mental illness, family, old age, and it can be done in a comedic way, in a scary way, in an emotional way, and it still feels similar. It will Bergman, but no movie of his feels like just a worse version of something else he made.
Okay.
He's
Max
a
does,
fantastic filmmaker.
Adam,
Considering
one
how
thing.
many films he made, I haven't seen a film of his
Oh,
that's
it's on my watch list now.
close to being bad. Great. There's so
one
much
thing,
good stuff he made.
I have to go now. So
All right. Thank you for joining.
goodbye.
Thank you for your
enjoy.
support.
The
Enjoy
album was
whatever it
great.
is you're doing now.
What were you saying?
So great album.
Yeah.
Did you have anything else to say? I didn't hear the last thing you said.
No, that I really like your album.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, me too.
Yes, and well, see you next month.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Bye.
I'm actually really excited to revisit Climax tonight because the first time I watched it, I was kind of like not really into it because because I watched it in the daytime and I guess I was kind of like excited. I was excited to get like that
Lights out.
feeling.
Loud.
Yeah. It's a movie that looks better to like watch at night, like
Yeah,
good
so I'm
time.
gonna watch
Really
it, like,
loud
really-
too.
That was the
I'm gonna
one
watch
movie.
David F. Sandberg's Lights Out.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Yeah, I watched Hour of the Wolf with like late at night too. It really helped with the atmosphere.
Yeah, so I'm gonna watch
The
Climax.
movies that really just the specific setting really elevates them.
Climax
for
for Climax for me was like the very first movie I ever seen where like I physically felt sick watching,
Mm-hmm.
and I was in like the dark. I was watching in the dark as well. And I specifically remember like it was Sofia Boutella. Like she walked into a room that was like black with neon red highlights.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And
scene.
then a black room again, but with blue neon highlights, and then back.
Yeah,
to I just remember pausing it. And I was like, I feel like I'm gonna throw up.
I'm gonna watch it like really late tonight with like the best speakers as possible because there's actually a lot of Climax that I don't remember, so it'll actually feel like a new experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is
I think another movie that's good to watch at night is I'm thinking of ending things because of a lot of it takes place, in the car when they're driving at night in like the second half.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a better dark movie.
I think The
I'm
Lighthouse.
really excited more to watch Enter the Void.
Lighthouse is a good night movie.
Yeah. I mean, any movie that looks like dark, it's better to watch at night.
Yeah, like the DC movies. Suicide Squad.
Yeah, it'll hurt your eyes.
Yeah.
Best time to
Pretentious
watch
bloke.
Suicide Squad is never.
Well,
Is anyone, are any of you guys going to see the second one?
Oh yeah, the Suicide
The
Squad.
Suicide Squad.
It is. So here's the deal. I'm going to watch it because there's nothing in physics that states the second one has to be like the first one.
Yeah,
I
okay.
could imagine a world where that.
I mean, yeah, it's James Gunn. It's not going to be as bad. It's just it's not going to be good. It's just won't be as bad.
Yeah.
Isn't it called The Suicide Squad
Yeah.
now?
And there's twice the amount of characters.
So what are we? Some kind of the Suicide Squad?
I could
Yes,
I
we
could
are.
imagine a world where this is like you get some popcorn, you get your best lady with you. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I did that with Salo.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just glad
Oh,
King
God.
Shark is a CGI character and not like that abomination he did for Killer Croc.
You know what? I didn't mind the look of Killer Croc. I didn't like how
King
racist he was.
Shark. It won them the makeup award.
Because
Yeah.
he's
It made
the
them an
only black
Oscar winner.
character in the
It
Suicide
looked
Squad
like-
aside from Viola Davis. Why is
It
he
looked-
racist?
Oh, he's racist because when everyone gets a wish and one thing that they could possibly want, he specifically
BET.
asked only for BE, Black Entertainment
Yeah.
Television, not just
Oh,
a TV I can
God.
see anything on.
That's
Oh
a
my
thing in
BET.
Suicide Squad. I don't
When was it
remember that.
made?
Yeah, that movie's garbage.
When was the Killer Croc made?
What's that?
When was
What?
Killer Croc made?
Oh, I don't know, the 60s or something. All those
Yeah,
characters
that
are old as
explains
fuck.
like all the racist.
No, not in this movie. No, that movie's new.
But like
I don't even think it was racist. This thing was dumb. It was just very,
Yeah.
very.
I always feel like Killer Croc
The
was
movie
like,
was really like sexist, I think.
It's just lazy. That's what happens. Like if you just go off of your
was
laziest.
made by committee.
The first
Yeah,
idea.
It
that
was
comes to
Killer
mind.
bad.
Croc, what'd you expect?
Well, it's like Small Beans was just talking about Doctor Strange and how it's like the messaging is that there's this obviously Asian society of people that's run by a white person with Tilda Swinton, and then a guy who comes and trains for all of 3 weeks takes the whole thing over because he's better than all of these lifelong Asian trained people.
I mean,
Well, yeah,
in their
'cause he's
defense,
white.
that was the comics,
Savior.
so-
Well, that's the
Oh, that
idea. Is that I
reminds
don't think that was them being like, "Ooh, let's get our racist dog whistles out." I think they just were being lazy.
Yeah,
And they didn't,
well, I think-
someone
I-
told them, "Hey, that sounds kind of problematic. Like,
Yeah.
you guys should think about that."
But in Doctor Strange defense, it was the same issue with the comics as well.
Well, it's the same issue all the time. I call it like the Dances with Wolves movies. We see those all of the time. It's like Avatar, Ferngully, Dances with Wolves, now Doctor Strange.
That's why I'm excited for Dune.
Avatar.
White savior, they call it. They call it white savior.
It's always like the sorry for colonialism.
That's why I'm excited for Dune, because like if you know anything about Dune, it's very much like the very opposite of white savior.
Okay.
I liked Denis Villeneuve, but I thought that trailer looked bad.
I think the trailer was fine. I didn't like the music choice. I know why he chose that music, but I didn't think it fit the theme.
Yeah, if I see
The tone, I mean.
if I see a bad looking trailer for some director that I really like, it doesn't really matter because tons
I
of
will
trailers look
say,
bad.
I will say,
Yeah, the trailer for Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind was like completely misleading. It,
Yeah, like
insulted
there's
me.
There's
Some
tons of
Jim
shitty
Carrey
trailers.
Comedy.
Sorry
they
to bother
completely
you is another one.
They
Yeah.
Probably
completely,
makes it seem a lot
What was
funnier.
another one?
they completely fucked over Denis with Blade Runner.
Yeah, they did.
With they weren't supposed to show Harrison Ford.
Oh yeah, that was
Yeah.
that was whack. I agree.
Spoiler.
You know, the thing with Denny though is so cool. I just had my friend had not seen my roommate hadn't seen any of his movies, so we spent this whole last week watching. Let's see, we saw Enemy, Sicario 1 and 2.
Yeah. Enemy
Prisoners
is
is
a movie that
it's cool. Prisoners now one of his favorite.
Why'd you
movies,
watch
which is awesome.
Sicario
It's one of my
2?
favorites. I love it.
Oh yeah, have you
Okay.
seen Sicario 2?
No.
Yes, I saw them both in theater.
You should put it on your watch list. I'm curious.
I wonder
I
if
love Sicario too.
is it on my watch list.
Have you watched Polytechnique?
No, so that's the thing. That one and August date.
It is
whatever
on my
movie I
watch
hadn't
list.
Seen. Yeah. So there's 3 of his movies I haven't seen now. I've seen everything. I've seen all of his shorts too.
Probably for me, I don't live in Quebec, but my entire dad's side does.
Mm-hmm.
So that movie has a very not personal, but very.
I know what you mean though. Yeah.
Yeah, because even though I wasn't born when the massacre happened,
Right.
my family was there, and so hearing stories from them,
No, I get that.
how they where they were and how. So it was almost like watching a movie about 9/11.
Well, I feel you. So one of my favorite movies is Elephant, and I live in Colorado where Columbine
One of
happened.
my favorites too.
And Elephant was famously supposed to be about Columbine, but they couldn't swing that, so it's just kind of generically about.
And for me, what I love about Polytechnique is that it's done in black and white, but it's done intentionally because they never they never say the killer's name, and the whole point is because they don't want to give him the recognition, but also the whole point of it being in black and white because Denis Villeneuve said this it was the point with not make the violence, not make the blood and gore.
Okay.
The reason to watch it. Well, it's also a matter of that the
That's
killer
what
had a
Alfred Hitchcock
manifesto,
did.
so he represents an idea more so than he represents.
Yeah, and also
just the guy.
that movie's also a lot about because my dad told me there was a lot of stigma that men got at that university where it happened. Whereas what there were people criticizing the men why didn't they help?
Well, the guys did himself. One of the guys killed himself because he felt so guilty. Yeah. Right, exactly right. And it was a very sex-based crime as well.
And my dad said that happened a lot when that happened. So
I could believe that, yeah.
And so that movie for me, even though it's not my favorite Denis Villeneuve film, it's one of my.
It's very powerful. I get that. Yeah. No, I get that. That was my thing too. I just saw. Speaking of not favorite but still good, I just saw Enemy, and I'm still working that one around in my head.
Yeah,
and
I didn't really like Enemy at all when I first saw it.
I don't want to say like or dislike it. I just don't. I'm still trying to work out the feelings. Right?
I like it a lot.
It ends smack dab in the middle of what I would, or not in the middle. It ends right at where I would have thought the second act break was, or the third act break, going into the third act. I was like, ooh, I can't wait to see where this goes. And then it's over.
The ending is unexpected.
When I first saw the ending, I was
very sudden.
It's really ending.
I honestly think it has one of the best endings I've seen on film.
It's a good ending.
Yeah.
The idea
is
it's just where it happens feels like things are just ramping up and they're really getting started, and then it's like, oh no, we're done. But also the runtime, it's an hour and 30 minutes. I thought we were 45 minutes in. That movie fucking flies.
Oh wow. Yeah.
I thought it kind of dragged at first, but once I got once I figured out what was going on and got more invested in it, it really blew by.
I'm excited to see because he's teaming up with Gyllenhaal again for possibly another smaller movie. So I'm excited to see that happen
After he
again.
does another Dune thing, because he says Dune is gonna be 2 movies.
No, I think it's in between. I think it's in between the first and second Dune. He's doing a Gyllenhaal thing.
Yeah, if he does another thing like Enemy, you could shoot Enemy in a week.
You can make a small thing in between your bigger projects.
Yeah.
I honestly didn't think Prisoners was that great.
You didn't think what?
I didn't think Prisoners was that great.
You shut your whore mouth. How about that?
Holy shit!
That's one of my favorite movies. That movie's so. I just saw it again. It's so good.
It is great. I like Prisoners a lot.
It's so good.
Do you guys think the success for Dune is going to be good enough to get a sequel?
I'm honestly, no, I think they already worked the deal out.
Yeah. Oh.
From what I've heard.
Well, if anything, I remember Augie said the trailer didn't look good, and I remember my biggest issue with that trailer was that it did not do the book the justice that it.
Well, I don't know how you do, you know.
Yeah.
And then you have guys like Hodorowski who are like crapping on it because
it's gonna fail.
they didn't get there.
See, I don't think he
Wait,
sounded that
Jodorowsky like
negative
crapped
about
on
it.
the Villeneuve Dune.
No, he just put another one. He's like, yeah, it's gonna fail.
Well, to completely
Really?
honest,
Even though they
completely,
used like a Pink Floyd song in the trailer, which he was gonna do.
He's probably mad about that. He probably feels like they're biting his style. If you watch that documentary, the whole documentary, he's complaining about how everyone ripped him off.
Yeah, he's like,
which
so
some of the
salty.
complaints he has are
That's
pretty
funny.
fair.
and completely honest though, I never ever saw Jodorowsky's Dune as Dune.
Watch that; it's actually pretty fun.
Yeah.
No, he didn't see it as Dune, is what he said.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Like I never saw his version of Dune.
100%
as
agree
Dune.
with you. That's my thing. I've been saying since I watched.
I mean,
was like,
yeah,
I didn't think
it would
the
be
whole
an awesome movie, but in concept, we don't know if it would really be an awesome movie. That's why Hodorowski's Dune is just like, you know, it triggers the nerd imagination, and it makes you think of the best possible outcome of what he's describing, without really considering anything practical about it and like how it might turn out regardless.
Did you notice in the when I watched the documentary too, I kept jumping back and forth between thinking something looked authentically cool and thinking like, oh, that looks like a train fire. I can't wait to see that. Like that would be fun. Like
either way, it would be like super fun for it to exist. I love the idea of that existing. Unfortunately, it never happened.
Cut.
Yeah, do it.
I mean,
resurrect some people.
Do a pussy.
Yeah.
Resurrect Orson Welles.
Like
or Dolly.
Yeah, Dolly.
Yeah, Dolly. He was
the
straight up
release
gonna like
of Snyder Cut movement got big enough, so why can't they release the Jodorowsky?
because the Snyder Cut version is not gonna be 12 hours long.
Because less people know who Jodorowsky is.
Isn't The Godfather 3 like something's happening to that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No reshoots are gonna
version.
Oh yeah.
to make that movie actually good. Like, are they gonna change the ending? That's one of the biggest problems. Are they gonna patch out Sofia Coppola? That's something they're gonna have to do.
It's the same problem though with
I don't think you could make a good movie out of it either.
Yeah,
way.
there's
your
one
whole movie's
hilarious
bad,
part.
then
There's
like
one
you can't just make a
hilarious
couple.
Yeah,
hours.
there's not like a good movie hidden within Godfather 3.
Yes.
Yeah, there's one hilarious part where they're like showing a newspaper and the date on it says 1990, but the movie's supposed to take place in the 70s.
Oh.
I mean, I wonder if we'll fix that.
Maybe.
Yeah. Hey, pretentious bloke asked previously, and I want to talk about it too. Grave of the Fireflies, because it's the Sardonicast recommendations, and I was really excited for it because it's one of my favorite movies ever. The past couple of hangouts, I mentioned that I'm making a big Ghibli video that's not professional or anything, but whatever.
Okay.
It's my favorite Ghibli movie, and I was like, that was my idea of, if there's a movie Adam's gonna love, there's no way he's going to give it less than a 9 out of 10. It's Grave of the Fireflies. He gave it an 8, which is like a 99 on a test. Still a win.
Okay.
But whatever.
Yeah.
I'm curious what you think about it, like in more detail.
I was shocked Ralph hadn't heard of it. I was like, I don't know.
I love that movie so much.
Ralph.
Yeah, I remember
Ralph
it being
only
something
recently learned that
fascinating.
anime is an art form that exists.
I don't know.
I don't
think Ralph
You haven't
in
seen any of the
Ghibli
Miyazaki movies?
Sorry.
He hasn't seen any of them.
I don't think he's seen any. This will be his first like Ghibli, I guess. Depending on if you want to call it a Ghibli.
Yeah,
They animated it, but they don't own it.
Ghibli is Miyazaki. Ghibli is a studio. It's much bigger than
Yeah.
Miyazaki. And the problem with Ghibli now
Actually,
is that the only directors that they have is Miyazaki, who's constantly in and out of retirement, and he's growing old. And Miyazaki's son, who before directing a big project for Ghibli, did not work on a single thing related to animation. He wasn't part of animation school, nothing. He worked in like agriculture. And it's very clear that Ghibli, like, they know that their reputation is like the Miyazaki studio, and they're trying to keep that image of them alive. That's why they brought in Miyazaki's son. That's why every film of theirs, it's like trying to be another Miyazaki movie instead of bringing in somebody new or finding somebody new that already works for them, that has their own unique vision. And I don't like that idea. It's that just Miyazaki is Ghibli, Ghibli is Miyazaki. There's more to the studio than just than just Miyazaki. Like the director of Grave of the Fireflies, he actually he's actually one of the founders of the studio, and he's a very influential animator. Just researching Ghibli, he directed a bunch of very important anime in like the 60s and 70s, and without him, anime probably wouldn't be as big of a deal as it is now. That's my rant anyway, but yeah, I don't like this perception of Ghibli. I just wish that it would change.
I actually just
But
watched.
Grave of the Fireflies is awesome. Yes,
I'm seeing it this weekend. Yeah.
I actually just showed Spirited Away to my sister.
I want to revisit that one for sure.
Ago, but she forgot most of it. I love that movie.
Yeah.
How? The movie's so great.
I have good memories of Spirited Away.
My she's.
Yeah, it's a great movie. It's like it's weird, but it still has like a functioning attach yourself onto and an actual plot. That's what I didn't like about Howl's Moving Castle. It's too confused, and the characters seem to understand things that you as an audience member don't. So immediately you're disconnected. Spirited Away doesn't have that problem. It's weird, but it's consistent and it's engaging, and it really holds up.
On the Letterboxd account, it says that you gave Nausicaa a 6 out of 10. I'm kind of curious why.
I don't fucking remember it. I think I watched it at a friend's house and was like, well, this is meh. So
I love it.
Nausicaa is a good movie, but I think that like what it does, Princess Mononoke did way better. It's funny because Funny Games, the two Funny Games movies, they're pretty much exactly the same. One of them is better. But I could still revisit Funny Games 1997 anytime. I can't say the same for Nausicaa and Princess Mononoke because Princess Mononoke is just so much better. It's way cleaner. You understand the universe more. It gets across more messages. It doesn't have all of the weird clutter that brings Nausicaa down.
Yeah, it's very
It's not a good movie, but it's not something. It's not good enough to not become obsolete by something better and similar from the same director.
So earlier we were when we were like talking about like climax and angst, we were like talking about like the most anxiety-inducing like films we've like that sort of thing. So I wanted to know like what you guys like most like anxiety-inducing films you've seen like in a theater or at home or something.
Just Climax really is my number one.
Yeah,
really.
I don't know. I remember seeing like Inside Out when I was younger, and I was thinking, "OMG, there are little people in their head controlling her." and if these other little people don't get back, she's gonna like be mentally damaged or something.
I'm so old.
I think for me it might be the original.
Yes.
I really am excited
for
the climax tonight. So.
I think for me it's still Uncut Gems.
It's funny. I went and saw Memory of Murders last night for the first time in
nice.
And I'm a criminology student, and for me that is my biggest fear.
Yeah.
Is that not that I will have like a serial killer case, but like I would have like a serial killer case that will just drive me to like insanity. Like I will not be able to get peace until I find the person.
You ever watch True Detective?
I've tried. I'm not much of a TV person.
Okay.
But I heard it's good.
There was a great bit about a character choosing not to do it anymore because of exactly that, and how he just was like, I don't want to interact with this kind of stuff anymore.
I guess this is like more depressing than anxiety-inducing, but I watched Dancer in the Dark for the first time a couple days ago.
I would say that's anxiety-inducing.
Yeah,
especially the ending.
Say Hour of the Wolf. Hour of the Wolf, like the ending. That's like Hour of the Wolf. I'm gonna recommend that.
I've got one, but you have to choose to let yourself care about what's happening.
Okay.
But I think Under the Silver Lake is actually pretty anxiety-inducing.
Sure.
Yeah,
Parasite. Let yourself go on the ride and care.
I just think it's funny.
At points.
Well, it is funny, but I still didn't ever want the character to get caught or hurt or go to jail. So
I think the most
let yourself feel that, then it's actually pretty stressful.
Well, I think the most anxiety I felt from that film is when, this is like a small part, but it was when like the apartment lady came to his room, I think, or something like that.
The owl lady?
No, like when like they were trying to evict him out of his apartment.
Oh, that part gotcha. Yeah, a lot of it for me is like the noir like chase scenes where he's like following people, and you're like, dude,
I was just having fun, really. I just think it was a fun time.
I think it can be both.
I'll be right back. I'll be back in like a minute. Hold on.
I'll
It's
probably
so
get
funny because
shit
Homie
for
was like
this.
weirdly good with his hands. Like Homie was just like putting fist on people the whole movie.
Another anxiety film I saw was I don't know if you ever seen the movie Sinister by Scott Derrickson.
Yeah, that's fair.
But,
yeah.
but,
Well, I guess that's a good point. Every
yeah.
horror movie.
Well, for me, because like
Sinister has like its good parts and bad parts. The Sinister has some really good parts.
When I saw it,
the Ryan Hollinger video about it. I agree with.
Yeah.
It's like,
What are you saying, Sebastian?
But I first saw it when I was 14.
Yeah.
And I saw it in the theaters because our in Canada our rating system's different.
Okay.
So like there's a lot of R-rated movies in the States that are really PG-13 here. And that was one of them. And I remember just being so like I remember my heart just pouncing.
Well, I especially agree with you in the parts where he's looking at the footage and the attic kind
that
of stuff.
part
Yeah, you're right. Those
terrifies
parts are terrifying.
Oh,
yeah, that's
yeah.
very stressful because the whole
but-
time you're like, hey man.
the music is great.
But the
too.
worst
Yeah,
part
that
was but the worst part was I remember like as I was watching it like it was I remember exactly it was the tape when the drowning at the pool.
I'm sure I'll get like some shit for this, and trust me, I already had. But like the first time I walked out of the theater after watching Joker, I was like kind of a mess.
Yeah, but would you call that anxiety though?
No, it really got to me. Really
Yeah, but
did.
like in an anxiety way, because it got to me too. But
Yeah,
more in
because like the I'm not gonna spoil it, but
Yeah,
the
yeah.
scissor scene, like really.
Oh, that kind of stuff stressed you out? Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
For me, it was heavy just because of the I felt very bad for the character and watching the
Just like
picture.
I can't even listen to the score without like, and I love the score, but
I listened to it on
love the
repeat. It's an
music
awesome
in
score.
that.
The music is so good.
I know, but I
Scene
want
in the
to, but
movie.
I can't even like without my head hurting. It just it ruins.
Someone
me.
brought up a great point here. Green Room. That's a really good one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
But,
Adam Greenwood said Greenwood. That's Green Room.
But going back to Sinister, like at the part where like he's watching a video of like the drown at the pool, I remember like my nose was getting runny, and I was like wiping my nose, and I was saying like
You got sick.
but no, even worse, it wouldn't stop, and it took me like and then it stopped eventually, and then it happened again, and then I only realized it once it was a daylight scene that it was blood.
Oh no. Hey, that's the real deal. You went straight anime.
Yeah. And so I literally walked out of the movie like just my hands covered.
Sinister made him horny.
Yeah.
That's how it works in anime. You get a nosebleed when you're horny.
I had a carrying moment. So that for me is always one of my favorite movie theater experiences. It's just
I can see that for sure.
I know a lot of people. I know a lot
Yeah.
of people think that this movie is like overrated, but I'm fucking terrified by the Blair Witch Project.
No, well, you know what? It's easy to say that stuff now. It's easy to say it's overrated now, but back in like 90,
but that actually also got me like the wall.
I think that's a good one.
Blair Witch is a good movie. It's like,
Blair Witch isn't bad, yeah.
I remember watching
so
it.
real.
I remember watching it. Like I wasn't a fan of it, but I much appreciate it more because the whole fact of like how it's just so subtle.
Exactly.
Right
in comparison to the Paranormal Activity.
Yeah.
I watched.
Like
sorry, you first.
Oh, okay. But like it starts with like just rocks, pyramids of rocks, and then you start hearing noise, and then it starts with the stick figure men, and then it just builds up eventually. It's
so we can all agree the third Pokemon movie is the best, right?
I think for me it may actually, unless I'm forgetting something, it may actually be the first funny games.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great
it's like
man.
anxiety-inducing.
I brought it up too. You're totally right. Funny games is super anxiety inducing. Yeah. It's so stressful.
The remake, not so much, since I already knew what was going to happen.
But I have a counterpoint, though. I would say that it's very anxiety-inducing until the shotgun scene happens, because from then on, you're like, oh, well, there's just no winning, so now there's no tension.
Well, there's the wink. So.
Yeah, but that didn't. That felt like I didn't accept the wink as meaning that all hope was lost. When the shotgun scene happened, I was like, oh, there's no hope. Like this is rigged. Okay, I'm not here to hope that the characters win. I'm here to watch them lose.
I would say, like, even if I know everything that's going to happen, like, I'm still able to get the same emotions. Like, it is still anxiety-inducing
but
for
in, like,
me.
a Friday the 13th or something for me, it's like, I don't ever have the feeling that, like, oh, these people are supposed to survive. It's like, I'm on the other guy's side now, just watching him kill them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's the kind of stuff that Haneke criticizes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. The remake didn't quite. Maybe I was just watching it on shitty TV because, like, It was like a brand new TV, but the colors were like washed out. Maybe that's why it wasn't really like connecting with me as much.
Well,
as
was
the
it
The
because you
color
saw the
scheme
first one
of
first?
Funny Games US is purposefully like a lot of white, even I think more than the first one, and that's intentional.
Yeah, it leans on the trope that the bad guys wear white.
Mhm.
Oh,
I
also, you know
forgot
what?
about that.
Hereditary. That's another good one.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh yeah,
that's a pretty
every
freaky
single
movie.
comment in your review of Hereditary is like, "Ooh, you were wrong
Oh.
about Alex Wolff's performance. He
Oh.
was
Nah.
great. You don't understand it."
No,
So
I'm
Alex
not wrong
Wolff
about
wasn't-
that.
I don't think he was terrible, but I think that
Not
he
wrong
was
or
just
not
good
right,
enough to not
definitely.
ruin it and make the movie like not work.
So
I
your
just-
opinions have changed about Hereditary?
My opinions?
What?
No, my opinions have not changed about Hereditary. I've seen it
Oh,
like
but
2 or 3
that-
times
yeah.
now. Like, I like it a lot. I own it.
Mhm.
I don't think it's
Great.
perfect.
I think
I
he
think
sucks
Spotify-
so
I
much.
also like one thing that I've kind of like come to understand about my feelings with Ari Aster is like, in terms of like narratives, I think I would like to in the future see him tackle something that doesn't feel so derivative. Because in both of his films, like
His
I'm
influences
literally
are
just
very
thinking of
clear.
other movies that have already existed while
Yeah.
watching them, and it's
I
very
would
clear,
actually
insanely clear where his inspirations come from. You got like Rosemary's Baby, you got like Don't Look Now, and then for Midsummer you
And
got
then
like The Wicker Man, exactly.
Yeah, just
And I
like,
think
hey,
that
here's
that
the
he makes
A24
better
version of this
looking
movie.
movies than the ones that like he's inspired by, with maybe possibly the exception of Rosemary's Baby. Like his films are really well shot, but like narratively, I'm just like, I want something like that I'm surprised by,
original.
that that I'm not constantly thinking of another movie while watching. You know?
So
Well,
you're
I
thinking that
actually
maybe you should work
really-
with somebody else, because like
I want to see him and Eggers get together.
yeah, because like
Yeah.
I would actually argue that Midsummer is like a flawless film, but that's just my
Yeah.
personal opinion.
Yeah, I still need to see the
Midsommar
director's
is my
cut.
favorite movie of last year.
I had performances issues.
Yeah.
Really? In
I
Midsummer?
I had one for like a tiny bit of it too.
Mm-hmm.
I actually
where
really
do you-
didn't like the director's cut for Midsummer.
No?
I thought it added absolutely nothing. I thought it was just like an extra like 10 minutes that were completely useless to the
Okay.
grand scheme of the plot.
But
I'll
where
be
do you
honest.
think? But where do you think is the cutoff between an homage and like a derivative?
like
Between
the
an
last
homage
30
and a
minutes
what?
of Doctor Sleep.
And a
Something
ripoff.
being an homage, like
And like a ripoff?
like Kill Bill's obviously an homage to older, like what's the word?
Japanese cinema.
To
Yeah.
a billion movies.
Yeah, so that's obviously an homage, whereas something that is like just being a ripoff.
Well, I mean, it depends on if the director's honest about where their inspirations are coming from. I would say that's the biggest one. Like Ari
Yeah, the
Aster,
honesty
like
needs
will
to be
literally
apparent
say
in
in
the filmmaking.
interviews, he's like, "Yeah, I watched Don't Look Now, and I wanted to make a movie like that." Like he'll say
plus you
that.
can't-
So
You
Yeah,
can't
he's
see The
written
Wicker Man and say
entire
it's not
articles and like
Midsummer.
film comment about movies he loved and stuff.
yeah.
Do you guys think it's?
Yeah.
I think it's interesting how Eggers is starting to like, well, not starting to, but he's really, really leaning into being like the period guy.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
loves doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He loves the dialect part of it.
I'm really hyped for
Deep
the
research.
Northman.
I'm so hyped.
Yeah, me too.
The Bjork man.
Like,
The Bjork man.
I feel like, I kind of feel like The Lighthouse kind of reminds me a little too much of Bergman stuff. Not to like a
Too
bad-
much?
Definitely Bergman. One
Yeah,
location,
exactly. If it's
only a
good.
handful
haven't
of
seen
characters,
Bergman.
black and white.
Like
But
too
I
much.
would not. I would not.
That's
Well,
confusing.
like a-
That's really confusing to me. I can't imagine
Yeah, like
the
having seen a
Lighthouse.
ton of Bergman movies,
feeling too
and
much
knowing
like
what I know
Bergman.
about the Lighthouse without seeing it, I
Oh,
don't
well,
think it's a ripoff. Like Bergman's
I'm not
movies are
saying it's a
really
ripoff. I think
comedic,
Lighthouse-
and if he wants to make
Yeah,
his own version of
Bergman
a
looks
Bergman movie,
very
he can.
I'm not
different.
I
saying
mean, Bergman is dead. Nobody else is gonna make that anymore.
I'm not saying it's a ripoff. I actually really like The Lighthouse. I personally do like The Witch a little more, but
Mhm.
I guess I don't know. I just kept made me like think Oh, this like reminds me of a Birdman film I recently watched.
What
and that,
what I love about them is that
The
they feel
Lighthouse
so
kind of drew a
different from
lot
each
from
other.
like Tarkovsky, like with like the frames.
Yeah,
and,
that's true. I can see
yeah,
that.
just how much texture there was to like the buildings, like that of Tarkovsky. You know,
I can totally see that. Yeah.
I just
Yeah,
like the
and
lighthouse because
is
it's.
only the lighthouse was only made for like $6 million, and it looks flawless.
Well, and I just love that the lighthouse
Mhm.
feels so different from the witch. You know, they don't even feel
Oh
necessarily.
yeah.
Very claustrophobic. And
I also love Lighthouse because it was filmed in my home province.
Well, there
Nice.
you go.
Nice.
I'm pretty curious to see
also
the
have
Witch
more
because it has like 50% of Rotten Tomatoes. Everybody's saying, "Oh, it's too slow. Nothing's happening."
What movie?
The Witch.
Oh.
I love the
The
Witch.
Witch.
So it's
That
just
was-
It's
great.
not even. I don't think it's even that slow.
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
pretty
The
divisive.
assassination by Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford is slow.
That's yeah.
Just because it's like A24.
It's like
whatever.
no.
That picture looks desperate.
I think I'm going to enjoy The Witch more on my second watch with subtitles. I think that's
Yeah.
gonna help my
Really?
experience a lot.
Yeah, it's very dense.
Subtitles definitely helped.
What
my
rating did you
experience
give
with-
The Witch when you first saw it?
I enjoyed it. I didn't think it was a masterpiece, but I liked a lot about it. The cinematography was great.
What rating?
I couldn't understand what people were saying though, so that's my.
Yeah,
I don't
what's
think
the
either of
rating?
them.
Subtitles
Did you
definitely.
give it a rating?
The Witch? I gave it a 7, I think, but it could change.
Ah.
It could change to an 8.
Yeah,
I don't know.
thought, like,
Alright.
I just saw the Suspiria remake and I did really enjoy it, but I was kind of bored in like the first act.
Really, man, I think it's almost stronger in the beginning.
I think like the last like hour is like where it shines. Well, actually no, the Olga scene is like one of my favorite scenes.
Yeah,
in
that's
the
what I was saying. Right, that's like in
Yeah.
the beginning. Yeah.
I forgot about that scene.
Yeah,
Well, I heard people
I wouldn't
complaining
say
about
that
the
any
ending.
section of the movie is too slow, but the whole thing, I feel like there could have been parts cut out. I guess
Yeah.
there
Yeah,
could have been
people
some
talk
like
about the
deleted
ending
scenes.
being-
I
I
like
definitely
that.
like it more than the original. I'll say that.
Me
My
too.
favorite horror movies are always like dramas that are scary, and so I
Mhm.
liked that movie is kind of this cool
Like
political.
Hour
It almost felt
of
like
the Wolf.
it almost felt like Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, but then in a horror universe. It's like
Kramer
horror-
versus Kramer.
I
like
wish I
Kramer
had,
versus Kramer, exactly.
It's just
That's
marriage.
a real horror movie.
It really is.
I wish I had subtitles when I saw The Lighthouse. That like, I don't know what it was. I was having trouble understanding the characters sometimes.
Yeah,
me
the,
too.
watching The
Not
Lighthouse for the first
necessary.
time with subtitles was a really great thing.
Yeah,
Thank you,
yeah,
Cannes
I-
Film
I saw
Festival.
it.
I actually
I had
when
to
I
see it with
first saw it,
subtitles.
I did not have subtitles, unfortunately.
I actually
Well, being from Nova Scotia, I think that helped.
Mhm.
Because they were speaking because I know a few people that speak with that type of dialect.
You're fond of me accent.
Yeah, I probably
Aren't you?
I
You're
watched
fond of
it
me
without-
accent, aren't you?
Yeah,
I
that's
watched
true.
it without subtitles in like a gigantic theater, and it actually wasn't really a problem with me. But I think what made it like the best experience for me to watch that film is that like when I got out of the theater, it was like pouring so much rain. It was so like it was like pitch black, pouring so much rain, and it reminded me so much of the movie, in a way.
Adam, are
That's
you
nice.
down for us to talk spoilers about it? It's been out for a while now.
What? The Lighthouse?
House. I haven't seen it.
The
No, 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 no.
Lighthouse.
Well, one person here hasn't
guys
seen it, so I would say
Okay,
let's
that's
not.
fine. Yeah. No
You
problem.
you can hint at things and ask me in ways that only people who have seen it would
Right.
understand. I'm fine
No,
with
I feel
that.
I just
but
I made a whole video
You
breaking
guys feel
down,
that
like, exactly what I
Pattinson's
think happened in it, and I just wanted to hear what everyone's theories were, but we'd have to get into
Yeah.
crazy spoilers.
Oh,
yeah,
that
when I
reminds
saw the
me,
ending, I was like, oh, maybe it's like that movie Event Horizon and it's hell or whatever. Which
Oh,
seems like
that
kind of
reminds me. I
fun.
wanted to ask you something about a spoiler from Hereditary, but I'll just write it privately in the chat because I don't want to spoil it.
Are you
Kite
guys
just,
familiar with the
asked
Warhammer
something.
universe?
I have a hereditary
No.
game somewhere.
sorry.
Do you guys find that Patton's accent in Lighthouse kind of was inconsistent at points at all?
There are like a couple moments where I don't feel like it's consistent, but without spoiling anything, I think that there are logical excuses that I can make about the character
that's
as
fair.
to why
Yeah.
that's not.
I hear what you're
Ah,
saying.
yeah,
I
yeah,
agree.
yeah.
Yep.
I think he's genuinely a great actor, honestly.
But honestly, even because people complained a lot about him in The Devil All the Time, and not being a person like growing up with people who have accents from some of those regions too, sometimes they're not hyper consistent either, you know?
Yeah.
You borrow things from, because all the states
Sometimes
are
it just feels that way to people, you know?
Yeah, that's fair.
I think
something that always sticks in my mind is a part in the documentary Finding Vivian Maier. Thanks for the recommendation, Adam.
No problem.
And in Finding Vivian Maier, an actual linguist said Vivian Maier faked her French accent, but no, she just had both French and American parents. That's an actual linguist that was fooled by that. So I can't really just, I'm not good with accents anyway, so if an accent seems iffy to me, unless it's absolutely certain for me, I'm not judging.
Well, I mean, I'm still gonna communicate how I feel about something. If I'm watching a movie with Saoirse Ronan and all of a sudden I hear a little bit of Irish in one sentence, then I'm gonna be like, Saoirse, you messed up a little right there. The rest of the movie, I don't hear that, but then for like one moment, I remember who she is. I remember that she's Irish. Then I have to. Then I'm. You know, I'm not an expert on accents or anything, but that's gonna stick out to me. And it's going to make me feel like the character was broken in a way.
Does anyone remember from 13 Reasons Why when like Hannah and then Jessica and they're like giving each other
Bride.
Like, it's Bride.
It's Bride.
Oh, I don't remember.
Yeah, I've heard people say that, like,
See, you guys talking about 13 Reasons Why is why I think Zack Snyder Cut's going to make money.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate watching it. Adam's the only reason I watched season 3 and 4.
Well, I know, that's what I'm talking about. I think there will be enough people who just want to see the car crash.
I think it also happened in Spider-Man Homecoming when like it happens in the trailer, but when I forget his friend's name, the Asian friend's name.
Ned.
Yeah, and he finds out that he's like Spider-Man, and then the aunts come. He's like, coming.
I noticed his British accent when he was ordering the sandwich.
Yeah.
When it's like just a bit of pickles and you squish it.
It is interesting how British people are very good though at picking up the American accent.
Because American media is everywhere. They're like everywhere is exposed to American media more than Americans are exposed to media from any other place.
The American accent evolved from the British accent. That makes sense to me.
But we should be able to go backwards, and we can't as easily. But that makes sense because we don't listen to BBC.
What
stuff.
are you talking about? This is such
Oi,
an
governor.
easy accent. I'm doing such a good job, governor.
Sounds great.
I just watched
what?
Season 5 of.
I remember when Joseph Gordon-Levitt was, I can't remember the guy's name, but he was in the movie about
Snowden.
The guy. No, not Snowden, but he was in the movie about the guy that walked across the Twin Towers.
Oh,
The Walk.
that.
The Walk.
Yeah.
And I remember people
Or
were
The
like,
Walk. Which
yeah,
is
The Walk.
Yeah, Man on Wire is the documentary. The Walk is the Joseph Gordon-Levitt one.
And I remember people,
Robert Zemeckis.
Yeah.
His
I
own
remember
Pretty easy
kid.
to do that now.
People were like criticizing him for his French accent.
Oh yeah.
And having speaking French. Well, granted, Quebec French and Metropolitan French is a very, very different French. But I thought his accent was flawless in some moments. Like there were some parts where like he's clearly slipping. Like there's clearly some subtle techniques that if you don't speak French you won't get. But
What did you guys think about Benedict Cumberbatch in Black Mass? Because I feel like generally his American accent's not fantastic, but
I don't think I watched that.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, it's I hope you do. Actually.
Isn't that the one about Whitey Bulger?
Yes, it is.
Oh.
I thought it was going to be the movie that brought back what's his face? Yeah, Johnny Depp's career, and then he just kept making more horrible movies.
just keep doing
Poor
that.
Johnny Depp.
It's so weird when a guy that you totally write off is like, no, I still got it. You're like, why the fuck don't you do this all the time? Like,
What's
Like Adam
funny is
Sandler.
that Johnny
Yeah, I
Depp
don't
was
think he
actually
gives a
in
shit.
yeah, I guess. So.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Yeah,
just
like
assume that they're
apparently a
retarded,
bunch
so
of movies
care
that he
about
made,
this
like
stuff.
Mordecai and Dark Shadows and stuff, and The Lone Ranger. That's it. Dark Shadows, Mordecai, The Lone Ranger. 3 of his least popular movies are like, I love this character from my childhood. I want to play them.
Well, or
And it
it's
just-
that I'm older
And
now,
it just
so I want to
flopped and it failed
That happens all
horribly.
the
And
time.
I've only seen Dark Shadows, but Dark Shadows is like Adam, if you want to see a fucking train wreck, watch Dark Shadows. It's like
Well, Charlie and the
one of
Chocolate
those movies that you have no idea what the fuck it's trying to be.
Oh, yeah, I
or
forgot.
what is it trying to appeal to? Dark
To be fair,
Shadows
he
is a
going through
complete
a lot of shit in his
travesty.
personal life.
Yeah, what's funny is that like Johnny
And he's
Depp
never
was
recovered
in
from it.
another gangster movie, I think, called Donnie Brasco, and that was actually good.
Yeah, Donnie Brasco. Yeah.
Yeah, have you
Was
seen
he in
that?
Public
Adam?
Enemies as well?
Yeah, that movie was, man, I wanted to like that so much more. It's not bad. It just was very
haven't seen it.
like
Johnny Depp is nominated for 3 Oscars.
And one was for Pirates.
For what?
Well, that's the thing. When he's on, I think he's really on.
Yeah, I don't hate him at all.
Great actor, but
I don't hate
he's
seeing
not
him in
his A
movies.
game.
I feel like his
funny
best
thing
movies
is,
are
like,
actually his most
before
underrated.
seeing like Donnie Brasco, I just thought of him as like the Pirates of the Caribbean guy or the Alice in Wonderland guy. Even though I
That was
realized,
The
oh, he
Nightmare on
couldn't-
Elm
he
Street
wasn't-
guy.
Yes.
I feel like
Yeah.
his
Jump
best,
Street.
I knew him as the crybaby guy for everything. So
Mm.
there's that.
yeah, I feel like
Yeah,
his best
Crybaby.
movies are actually his most underrated ones, in my opinion.
I mean, that's most people though. I mean, movies. I don't know. It's
Yeah,
You
a
end up
lot
with
of
two
people
kinds of
just have
overrated
a strong
movies.
connection with stuff that not everybody can talk to them about how amazing it is. It's like you feel a connection because it's like you and the movie. It's not everybody else copying a feel. I don't know how to describe it, but you know what I'm saying.
Hmm.
Yeah, like Johnny Depp was a great character actor, like Edward Scissorhands, Ed Wood, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, and even like Rango, that was still in like the start of his decline, and he still did a good job.
well, those kind of movies also make me wonder. The newer ones, like the 3 you named a minute ago, it makes me wonder if it's just hard when you get a script to be able to tell what that movie's going to look like, and if he maybe thought it was another Edward Scissorhands. You know?
Well, Dark Shadows, I don't know who thought what it would like. Have you watched Dark Shadows? If you did,
No.
don't tell me that maybe the script could have been better in the hands of a different director.
Yeah.
No way. This is like I can't even.
I just
describe
saw
it.
something
Like,
recently that was totally garbage. I forgot, and it had like really good actors in it. And I remember it was that same thing where I'm like, what happens here? Like, do they? Maybe it doesn't. How many days does it take into something before you realize, oh crap, this is awful?
I just realized that Gore Verbinski has been nominated for and won only one Oscar, and it was for Rango. He hasn't been nominated for anything else other than Rango, and he won an Oscar for
I think
Rango.
Rango's an incredibly underrated film.
Rango's a good movie. I'm just shocked that you'd think that he would have some sort of nomination for something.
For Pirates.
Yeah.
I don't know.
no, he makes like very crowd-pleasing movies. That's like,
I mean, like Pirates
usually the Oscars
isn't.
look at them and think, no, that's not high class enough for
What
us.
are you
Pirates
talking
could've
about?
got it
That
for-
happens all the time, though.
Mhm.
Pirates
And
seems
could've
like a
got it for
movie that
multiple
could get
things.
like a best director or visual
Costuming,
effects or
by
something.
I think Cure for
It was
Wellness-
nominated for
that was like
5
Gore Verbinski and his
Oscars.
prime was like before Rango.
Yeah.
Now maybe like that. Now that we have like Black Panther getting 4 Oscars or whatever, but like in 2004, I doubt it. No.
Well, actually, you should see if you want to see like more like recent like character acting and from Johnny Depp. He's actually like he does a lot of that in Rango because they actually shot the whole thing in live action before they animated it.
Yeah, they did.
Wait, is Rango the first live action?
Really?
Live action
Sorry?
animated film?
No, Lion
Yeah.
King is.
What about wouldn't it be like
They use
the
VR?
Roger Rabbit thing?
Yeah.
The Polar Express was all Tom Hanks.
He played every role.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? I woke up at like 2 a.m. last night and played one of the songs from that. What a weird coincidence you bring it up.
Because it's the best Christmas movie of all time. I love the Polar
No.
Express with passion.
Yeah. It looks too creepy.
I haven't seen it, but I doubt it.
I never
I
had
never
a
found
problem
that
You know, I never thought it was
Same.
creepy until everyone said it, and then
I remember.
It
Like,
looks fucking terrifying.
the reason it's so uncanny is because it's all
Yeah.
adult motion capture people doing children, and so it's weird to have the children move with the proportions of an adult.
Even if you
as
remove
said, like,
the children,
CG animation doesn't age well at all.
it doesn't.
Yeah.
I think it works okay in like a Christmas Carol where everything is supposed to be creepy and like otherworldly and disturbing.
You know what though? But I think this one
Yeah,
it works
but a lot of
well
people
there.
were
Expresses,
freaked
like,
out
attention.
by it.
There's like a lot of like the kid almost dying and there's ghosts and stuff like that. I think people forget that the movie is like supposed to be kind of intense and creepy until the
Which is
end.
why I
And then
really
the,
like it.
and
Yeah.
the flip is like, oh my god, look at what Christmas Land looks like. It's amazing.
I just I don't
find it. Little Nemo's like that too.
I don't love this style of animation. I'm looking at the
Well,
somebody
it's mocap.
uploaded
I
the
don't
whole
like
fucking thing to YouTube, so I'm skimming through it right now. I'm looking at. It just reminds me of
mocap is
Beowulf. Feels like
Well,
I'm
same
watching
problem, all mocap.
Beowulf.
I like Beowulf too. I think that movie is so. I don't know. I think it's because the animation. I have a very big soft spot for this kind of animation because of the uncanniness. It like appeals to me a little bit. So when I see like I don't know, it feels like I'm watching a really good video game cutscene. Is how I feel.
I think that mocap should be a good starting point, and then they need to go in there and do manual finishes.
Yeah.
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 Definitely.
Makes sense.
Is that not what they do already, or?
They do that already now.
I mean, I guess that's fair. It just feels it's like some get more refined to the point where you don't notice the Polar Express effect, and so if they don't do it enough, then
There's something wrong with their fucking eyes. There's something wrong with their eyes. They're soulless.
I've always been
they're like
disturbed by-
shark's eyes. Oh,
Look into the
lifeless.
pilgrim's eyes.
You know what I always found
so adorable.
They're creepy as fuck.
I think Polar Express also marked like the end of Josh Groban's career.
Yeah.
Who?
Exactly.
Josh Groban. Like
You're old like me.
Christian
You
guy.
remember there was this guy.
He's still on The Simpsons.
He
and he
brought
was on The
Italian music
Office.
Man,
was
if
on
he got Me Too'd, he would be Josh Gropin.
Oh god.
Got him.
He
You know
was
what I always
he like
thought looked incredibly disturbing.
he owned a season of American Idol where like every single person did one of his songs.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah, Polar Express, I think I tried watching. It was just very uninteresting to me. And I don't like I would rather have something more expressive in terms of animation or just real. This like weird in between where it's like animation trying to look real is bugging me. It's the same thing as like Lion King 2019 in a way. It's like
Yeah.
you know?
That's
It's
not
like,
animated though.
It's like
That's
why
live action.
animate it if you're just trying to make it look super realistic?
Yeah.
Like the Lion King.
Because they couldn't put those kids in real danger.
I mean, then make it more
But it's
like
not
expressive.
Well, make it more cartoony.
Yeah.
Make it more caricatures, you know. They could have
It's a
just
new
made everyone
genre.
more
They
fun.
did that in Frozen.
Any of you guys ever see what do you call it? Little Nemo?
Oh,
And
no.
you know, it's like a
Kid.
bunch of different directors try to work on it, and it ended up being very
Yeah, I
messy.
saw that when I was really young.
Well,
but
I researched Ghibli's, and they were trying to make it. And
there was
it
like a
didn't
flying
work out.
squirrel in
That's
that.
all I know.
There was a what? What were you saying about?
A flying squirrel.
Yes.
Yeah.
It
Oh,
was
yeah.
I
Yeah,
bring it
yeah.
up because it was another one of those like dark Christmas movies that
Yeah. Did it came out like in the 80s or
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I liked it when I was a kid, but I liked a lot of shit when I was a kid.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so the story is not anything to write home about, but the animation is actually very impressive.
I
but
like
also like that
Son of
tone.
the Mask.
I also grew up like I was really into like Never Ending Story and
Yeah.
I think all those dark Dark Crystal and stuff like that.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
all these,
yeah.
Back
Also,
when like
the
and
Return
what's
of
his
Oz
face?
is also like that too.
Yeah, I
Actually,
remember
it's
loving the Neverending Story. That
the
was
Bluth movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Hated the sequel to the Neverending Story. It made no sense.
Dude, Jack Black is in the third one.
I don't know.
God, I didn't even.
Oh, really?
So
Yeah,
fucking-
like
I don't-
14-year-old, 16-year-old Jack Black
Whoa.
is fantastic.
I don't know if the scene I'm thinking of
Hello.
is in the first one or the second one, but
The
the,
first
only
one.
the only experience I've ever had with Never Ending Story is the scene where the
Artax.
horse, the scene where the
Yeah.
horse is sinking in the
Yep,
quicksand.
the horse's name is Artax, and he
Yeah.
commits suicide in the kids movie.
That
It's the best
that was
movie
the only.
ever.
I literally turned on the TV and that was the scene they were playing, and I terrified me so bad as a kid. I
My
never watched it.
background is Artax drowning on my computer right now.
Yeah. Oh no.
It's so good. It's the best child acting I've ever seen in my life. Just that
Yeah.
one scene.
No,
I think I only saw the first one when I was like really young.
Well, I'm pretty sure the first one is the only one that's
And it's
worth
still not good.
seeing.
Yeah.
I have the biggest rose tinted glasses in the universe with it, and I
obviously
still
no
can tell it's
better.
not good. It's
I saw it recently. It's a pretty good movie, but it's not like great.
It's pretty
I
rough.
think it's
in a
like
lot
a
of
6 out of 10 movie.
I think like
Have
see
you
Princess
seen
Bride
The
I think is the
Princess
greatest film
Bride,
ever made, but I also know that that's
Adam?
not perfect.
Sorry, what?
I
seen
saw
Princess
Princess
Bride?
Bride with my
Yeah.
dad recently.
Yeah, I saw
Yeah,
it
it's like my
recently.
all-time favorite
It's like one of those things. Like Princess Bride, I watched it. I'm like, yeah, I understand why this is big. It didn't like super appeal to me. I don't think I'll ever see it again.
Maybe this is just because it was like Blu-ray quality, but I was watching it with my dad, and it's like, wow, these sets are like Renaissance Festival level.
Yeah.
You know what though? But it is impressive for what Rob Reiner got done.
It
with
was.
that smaller budget, you know, especially during that time period when that was not like a huge type of movie or whatever. I think that
when they were in the boat, I think I could see like walls on the sky.
I get believe it. Yeah, it's Truman Show.
Well, it's supposed to be a fairy tale, so you can make that argument that. Like,
Yeah.
I think they just had to do a lot with a little, but it was impressive. I think what they got done. I think the thing too is that movie is probably the most Gael, the way he put it was charming. I think that's a perfect word. It's like maybe the most charming movie I've ever seen.
Yeah, there's charm to it. What was that stupid bullshit about that machine that like would like what was that contraption where it would like steal his essence or some shit?
Yes,
sucks the life out of
right.
him.
Yeah, it's just called the machine.
Yeah.
And
Wasn't that in, like,
Prince
the Dark
Humperdinck gets
Crystal?
frustrated and turns it to 50 and takes 50 years of his life from him. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. The book puts a lot more of a hat on how silly things are.
Okay.
And the movie kind of takes things a little bit more serious. But yeah, because a lot of these things are supposed to be this kind of, you know, what's the kind of most, you know, I'm reading to a child, what would be like this big scary, the machine, the eels, the shrieking eels, you know, and that kind of stuff.
I like stories like that. Stories where you build on your own imagination to give like kids more imagination too. It is like very fantastical. I think is the best way. Like the Phantom Toll Booth or something.
It's almost supposed to be basically like a not a critique. It's like that's the wrong word. It's like it's like okay, we're gonna make like you know the ultimate fantasy thing. Like it hits every trope like really hard, except that there's like no dragons.
Yeah.
But the machine also in the book was intense because like the cups cover every inch of his body, even like under his eyelids and shit like that, and on his tongue and stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, remember when Carrie Ellsworth was the shit?
Carrie Elways.
Elways.
Yeah. I remember when he was the shit. It was in the movie Saw.
I knew you were gonna say that.
Yeah.
And then he was
like,
the shit again when in the movie
favorite of the
Saw
series?
7. When he
What
came
about
back
in,
because he stopped trying to sue them.
Was he suing them for?
He was suing them because he's a fucking asshole. He's like, so Saw 1, he was in Saw 1, and then he didn't opt in for any kind of like revenue share of the profits. He just got paid for like the regular movie. And then it became a really successful film. And he's like, how come I don't see any of that money? And even though like they gladly would have had him back for like Saw 2, he just started suing them. Yeah,
It's
I mean
funny,
like
too, because
they
it's
have eventually worked it out after like 7 years.
What you described as well is also like what we traditionally call like the normal way that movies work, you know?
Yeah.
Why is he all mad? It's like that's a
Yeah,
pretty
it's
traditional
really
stuff.
fucking weird that he decided to sue them over that. Like,
He's
what a
like, "Wait,
fucking
I thought I was
asshole.
Jack Nicholson. That's funny.
Yeah.
It's not even like he's a huge draw. At that point, people probably knew him more from Liar Liar.
Yeah, there's nothing to sue over. There's nothing to sue over. He's just a fucking asshole.
Me?
Maybe he hoped he would scare them into like submission.
Mm-hmm.
I would have gladly gone back for a sequel. That like imagine like being like the only character besides Jigsaw like returning for all the sequels.
Yeah.
You could have made bank. Like he could have made so much money off of
Also,
Because half the movies are flashbacks anyway.
Yeah.
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 So
I've never watched past the first one, and I don't feel like it.
I think the
What?
first one's actually pretty good.
It's worth it.
you have to watch the whole Saw franchise. It's so good.
Second one sucked.
No, thanks.
Or just watch all of Adam's.
Yeah, my videos are a good compilation.
They're
Which
pretty-
is like vomiting everywhere.
Yeah, you're
Watch
not really
that.
missing much. And
that
watching.
was my
through the
question on
game.
Sargonicast, by the way.
I think I was the
Oh, yeah.
first person to ever actually understand what was going on in those movies. I think my video was the first video that ever actually explained what the fuck was happening.
including out of the directors and writers.
Oh yeah, I don't think they had any clue either.
And then Jigsaw came out, and that just added a whole other layer to that story.
Yeah.
Death Race series was the first thing.
There's another helper, and he's been there since the very beginning.
Oh my god.
Also.
Saw is the only franchise that instead of moving forward in time, just expanding forward, it moves like.
Oh yeah,
like a
it just
rubber
keeps
band.
having to go
This.
backwards because
inversion.
What is this
Maybe
new one?
Because the whole thing was told from the perspective
Spiral.
of someone with Alzheimer's.
Yeah, I'm interested in Spiral.
Well, is that supposed to be a reboot or
Nobody knows.
Chris Rock is in it. That'll be
feels-
funny.
Nobody knows what the fuck it's supposed to be.
I think it
I
feels
think what
lateral.
it'll market itself as a reboot, but then the twist at the end, it'll release it. It'll say it's a sequel.
I don't think it's marketing itself as a reboot even. I think it's marketing itself as something like completely different. I think it's because like it's not Saw, it's Spiral from the Book of Saw. It's not being released near Halloween, right? So
Yeah, it's like
it's got like
Rogue
actual
One, where it's
actors
like,
in it.
Hey. Yeah, it's gonna be like Rogue One, where it's like, hey, it's a Star Wars movie, but it's not part of the main Star Wars series.
Well, I don't know if Rogue One's a good example because that actually is a straight up
Solo
prequel.
Or Solo, or whatever. I haven't seen
Mandalorian,
Rogue One in
maybe.
years.
Mandalorian, I think that's a good example.
Oh yeah, Mandalorian.
Yeah, where it literally isn't connected. It's not like
Planet
it's not
Sheen.
explaining something that happened in the main movies or whatever. But I'm just curious because I want to see someone try to take that franchise and do something a little more serious with it and see what that looks like. Like that's
Saw?
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Because I think the first one's the only one that anyone like really treated kind of seriously, and the rest of them
Yeah.
were, gosh, it's the same thing with almost any other slasher franchise. The first one's normally kind of
Yeah, it's kind of nice to
legit.
see new filmmakers.
I mean, you have to admit that the Saw films did a lot for pop culture and horror. So.
I'm not mad at them. It's just I'm just curious to see like what a more grounded take would look like.
I can't believe we have to hope that the one starring Chris Rock is grounded and serious.
I would have agreed with you if it wasn't for Fargo.
I agree. Oh yeah, Chris Rock is doing fantastic. He's so talented.
Well, I feel like we're seeing this all the time. There's all these guys that like I wrote off 20 years ago that are like, oh wait a second, that person can act. What the hell?
I mean, it's not the same.
He's in like the new Witches movie. And
It
did you guys
doesn't-
see the trailer for the Witches? The new
No.
one?
Yeah, Double Toasted already pooped all over it.
Yeah, but it
Yeah,
doesn't
it
come
looks
close to his
bad.
performance in Madagascar. So.
Ooh, which
This
one?
is true.
Oh, he's in all of them, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's Marty.
Is he the zebra?
Yeah,
Marty.
I would say Madagascar 3 is his best performance because he does the Afro Circus song.
It's a very crack-a-lackin'
Do
performance.
you think that they cast him as the zebra to be reminiscent of Eddie Murphy as Donkey?
Which came first? I don't know.
Shrek did.
Definitely Shrek.
Shrek came in 2001. Madagascar is 2005.
Really?
Yeah.
Why
it's-
do you
it's
know
Shrek
that?
first.
Right off the top, he's got that in his back pocket. He's like, in case this never comes up.
Me? No, I'm just good with numbers. Like I remember dates and
teasing, I'm
numbers
teasing.
very well. Like you can name any movie and I'll tell you which year it came out in. Doesn't matter if I like it, hate it, seen it, didn't see it, whatever. You can fucking name some random bullshit and I'll probably be able to tell you when it came out.
Madagascar was 05 and Shrek was 01, so I think 4 years later.
And Shark Tale.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yes,
Okay.
4 years.
Adam, I don't think you have Shrek rated. I'm kind of curious what you give it.
I'd have to rewatch
Is it a
it.
9 or a 10?
Yeah, I'd probably 11.
Probably, right?
Yeah.
I think Shrek.
You
2
know
is
what
still-
though? I will say no bullshit. All of the movies have at least one scene that makes me laugh out loud.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
I
all.
actually liked the sequel more.
The first one, the Merry Men part, kills me. I think the fourth one has the part where the Pied Piper plays the Beastie Boys song, like especially the first time for each of them because you're just not expecting it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, people really like the first two. I doubt that if I ever decide to
Second was
watch them
hilarious.
again, because
They have
I mean, I saw all of them as a
pretty
kid.
good soundtracks
I
too.
doubt I'll not. Yeah, I doubt that if I rewatch them, specifically the first two, I think they're like irredeemable dog shit. Maybe the third one. Probably the
Shrek
third one.
introduced me to Damien Rice. Like,
Mhm.
it's pretty interesting how there's like real music in some of those movies too, like that.
Can we just admit that Shrek saved us all?
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
Praise the Shrek.
I kind of felt like the
Shrek
Shrek
made-
movies kind of made like a style for DreamWorks and the way they communicate their stories. You know, like
Right.
you know.
I mean, it was massively successful.
pop culture.
Well, and they
show.
needed
First
it.
best animated
won the
Oscar.
Oscar.
winner.
Yeah, and also
well,
like
and-
other animation studios kind
And
of like,
DreamWorks was
they-
eating
they
shit
kind
with
of
like ants.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
They needed
I
something.
wouldn't want like just another Pixar studio trying to make you cry. I'm fine with like just
Right.
Yeah,
I mean,
and then, yeah,
Pixar
like,
is the
Pixar
ultimate
kind,
of
but I think it's
cookie
also just
cutter,
because
What if AIDS had feelings?
I mean Pixar they kind of have the same people.
They already did
making
that.
Already
That's
do.
how
That's why we
films.
don't have a cure for it yet.
Hmm.
Because we don't want to kill them because they're emotional.
Oh my god.
Ooh,
Um,
so deep.
that threw me off.
Thank you. I'll be here all night.
What if AIDS had feelings? Would we want to eradicate it?
Yeah.
I mean, probably.
Well, first we need to ask if they want to live.
If AIDS had feelings, we would just tell it to go away. That's the key.
So
Plenty
this
of
is just a
things have
condition that
feelings,
HIV gives
We
you.
could
and we
reason
just
with it.
destroy them.
What if they just like living inside other people? They're just like, this is pretty chill.
How many of you guys knew that Chris Farley was supposed to be Shrek?
Oh, really?
I knew.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Adam, you
Weird.
can actually find on YouTube. You can hear, like, you
The
can see
Onion speech.
storyboard with, the Onion speech with Chris Farley delivering.
no.
Like that's how far they got. He actually was like.
They also had to redesign the model because they had to redesign the model because it looked very closely to Chris.
Crazy.
Looked like hearing
they
that
had
like
to-
American accent is so weird.
Yeah.
Well, Chris Farley did the entire thing, and then when Mike Myers did it, he did the entire thing in a normal Mike Myers accent. And then, like 95% of the way through that, he was like, "Wait, can I do it in a Scottish accent?"
Wait a second.
And they're like, "Okay."
If
And then
Chris
they
Farley
redid
did the whole thing,
again.
why
So
didn't
like
they
they
just
had to
keep
do the
it?
whole thing like 3 times.
if he already did the whole movie, why didn't they just keep?
Because then you can't have a sequel without being insensitive.
I guess that's
It
fair.
wasn't.
You know what? These days they don't seem to care.
Aren't they putting Chadwick Boseman in the sequel of Black Panther?
I don't.
Nobody
I don't
knows
know
what's
if that's
happening.
confirmed.
Oh yeah.
We talked about this last month. I brought it up how I think that's super rude when they do that. I'm not a fan.
It's very.
I kind of
obnoxious.
hope they get John
Yeah.
David Washington to replace him.
Michael B. Jordan.
No,
Wakanda
John David
forever.
Washington.
John
Michael
David
Bay.
Well, they
Washington.
could just not make a sequel because
Well,
Yeah,
that's my thing. I keep.
yeah.
I don't think the first one's
Yeah.
that fucking good anyway, man. Just move on.
yeah, it's like people like shit on it, but it's just like it's just another Marvel movie. It's like fine.
Well,
whatever.
it represents that kind of really crappy Marvel movie, though.
Yeah.
We're talking about the first Black Panther.
Yeah.
Haven't seen
Yeah.
it.
My
I'm not a
favorite
big
Marvel
superhero
movie
guy,
is
to be honest.
On top of it being
I don't
like
think
really
any of us
bland,
are.
on top of it being really bland, the sense of humor was just so fucking
Well, what
cringe.
are those? Yeah.
Well, I would say like, because like for me, the MCU is my favorite franchise, and that's probably the movie I revisit the less. Not because I don't think it's good or anything, but because I rewatched it when he passed away as Mermaids, but like I never like when he's not on, like, man, this is boring.
Yeah, exactly.
God, and
It's
that-
just so bland.
The
Guardians of the
rhinos and
Galaxy
that
is,
fight
like-
at the end, that fucking
just- I just
PS2
didn't-
fight scene.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, I always think the very first solo outing is always their building block point, if you know what I mean. Like,
Well, but I think Iron Man 1 is like better than 2 and 3.
I'll be right
like,
back.
even,
Hold
like,
on.
because
It's
if you watch
more
People think
apparent.
that
It's more relevant to like video games, where the first one is like the basics, and then they improve the
yeah,
mechanics.
exactly.
With the movies, it's almost the exact opposite.
Yeah, I also
Or-
like it had like different directors. So like first Avenger movies were
Yeah, with
I did
directors, it's like the
Firefly,
first
and then they brought in the
movies
Russo
usually not the
brothers.
Joss
best.
Whedon.
They brought in
Thor
Russo
Ragnarok
brothers,
was
and
the
they did a
only
great
decent
job with Winter
Thor.
Soldier, and they
Yeah.
went in with Civil War and the
Yeah.
Last two Avengers.
Infinity War and
Yeah.
Endgame.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
the
that-
guys from
that
Community,
makes,
right?
They kind of nixed the Firefly guy out.
My dad like
Firefly
really,
guy's
really-
Joss Whedon.
Josh Whedon, yeah.
I think that I just think all these Marvel movies are the very definition of. Yeah.
Well, they're all the
I don't
new.
care about them.
Well,
They're the new
I don't think
Stallone
it's
movies.
They are bringing on.
Like, I wouldn't say like, because like when I remember when Martin Scorsese made that whole film of like it's not art,
Yeah.
and a part of me disagrees with him because I remember watching, and before Endgame came out, I watched all the movies prior building up to them.
Yeah.
Like
think
watching, and I realized like some of my favorite moments in Endgame are the quiet moments, like not to spoil what happens. I'm assuming people have seen it because it's made 2.9 billion at this point. But
Yeah.
the scene where Ant-Man goes back to visit his daughter, for me, is just emotional.
When I think of like in the Holy Mountain when there's like the art factory, like the MCU movies are the art factory.
Well, I think like
painting on the
MCU, if they bring
They're art, but they're not made with an
directors
artistic
with-
intent. I guess that's the thing.
Yeah, like it's still
I mean,
art.
they just have to bring in other film directors with other backgrounds within
Mm-hmm.
genre films, like Sam Raimi, because now he's behind the Doctor Strange 2, and you know, if they do more of that, where they bring in other filmmakers that can offer something new to the comics, then I think, you know, it won't feel like it's being just made from a factory. Yeah.
Well, I think that's a trick though that they do, because Disney does it in general, because the same thing with the Star Wars movies. They'll get some smaller respected director and then slap them onto some project that they've basically written 90% of and be like, oh look, we're making art, and it ends up being episode 8.
Yeah.
For me, like
like
the difference between
the Moonlight guy with The Lion King 2. Like it's
Right,
just a random choice.
It's not random. They know that he will get people to be like, ooh, let's take it seriously. It's the guy from
Best
Moonlight.
picture winning director. That's like clout.
It's clout. Yeah, it's for clout. They're
I
like the
just
new
don't know
actors.
if his
Instead of
style
getting...
will work well for like a Disney live action thing, because
Oh,
John
don't worry, it
Favreau
won't
had
have
done
style.
like
Don't
the
worry.
Jungle Book before.
It's not going to be live
Don't
action.
worry, it will not have any style.
going back to like comparing like Star Wars and Marvel, like I feel like that's an unfair comparison, mainly because Marvel, like, it's run by Kevin Feige, and he's like the mastermind of all this. So it's like even though I know when he made Iron Man, they clearly did not have Endgame in mind. They eventually worked up to Endgame. But like with Star Wars,
that's the only thing I'd give them is that they're pre-planned.
But with Star Wars, it's like it's clear.
In Star Wars, you're right. It's basically fan fiction.
Yeah, it's clear that they had no plan from the start what they wanted.
Yeah, Sebastian, you're disagreeing me on the pre-planning part, and I agree with you there.
So you have like the Infinity War, House of M, like a lot of story arcs that you can explore, especially now that they can introduce the X-Men and Fantastic Four. But you know,
all right. I think I'm gonna end this. I'm gonna get some shit done. If we wanted to go through, sorry.
Will you be watching The Rider before you do your Nomadland quickie? Because a lot of people like
The Rider.
The Rider,
Yes.
RIDER.
It's the best 20.
I really
movie.
doubt I'll be watching that before I make my Nomadland quickie. Anyway,
You don't have to watch it.
A lot of people really love Nomadland. So.
if we could, yeah, I know.
My next highlight
It's
is
weird.
like 2/3 of the way done. I just need one
Oh.
more stream.
Okay. Well, I might be on tonight. If we can go through everybody that wanted to maybe ask a final question, Sebastian.
Me.
I'll just go. I'll just go in order.
I have this question that's kind of been boggling my mind for a bit. I have ADHD.
Mhm.
The only reason I bring this up is because I have a hard time reading between lines and getting through visual metaphors and stuff. So I was wondering, like, coming from you, do you find it cheating if you're watching a movie that's very like meant to be read through lines? Do you find it cheating if you have to go through an external source to find the meaning, or do you think it's better if you find it with yourself?
I mean, it's all up to you. It's whether or not you want to do that, right? I don't see anything wrong with it. And even if you decide to look up someone else's interpretation, you can either agree with it or disagree with it. You don't necessarily have to follow it just because somebody else said it. So, yeah.
Thank you for your letter as well.
Oh, no worries. Thank you. Chad.
Yeah, I just would like to recommend anyone who hasn't seen it to see Black Mass. I think it's fantastic.
Okay. And then Augie. Wait,
just ended
Augie's
up with
next.
you ranting. I genuinely.
Hold on, Alex. We're going in order. Augie.
Well, to me, it's like out
Wait.
of order. I don't know which one's next.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm saying them. that's why I'm reading. Augie.
Oh, just want to say thanks for all your work. Favorite YouTuber, you know, you do.
Thank you so
hard
much.
Work really pays off. I loved your album, by the way.
Thank you.
I wrote something really chat privately because there was a spoiler. Because it was like a spoiler thing.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't want to answer it, it's fine. But
So,
just yeah.
You wrote it in chat or something, or what? What are you asking?
Yeah, it's in. I wrote it in chat privately because it's a spoiler to a
Okay.
film.
I'm reading it right now. No, because no. I think that's entirely different because, so basically the question is because I criticized Hereditary for being way too obvious at the end, and you're comparing that to Synecdoche, where a lot of it is explicitly explained. I don't. The goal of any movie isn't always just going to be like, oh yeah, things that are more interpretable are better by default. The entire experience of Hereditary specifically is one where things are scarier if you don't have things spelled out for you. There's more. The best parts of the movie are not knowing what's happening and being confused and figuring things out. And so, like, if you watch Hereditary as a film and you see all of these, like, you know, she opens the book and you're like, oh, that and there, and like everything is there to be able to figure it out on your own. And even if by the end of the first watch you haven't, on a second watch being like, oh, like to be able to stop the movie by after it's over and then think about like connecting things and like, oh, that happened and she was this and
like
blah blah blah. Like that greatly adds to the experience of the type of movie that Hereditary is going for, the genre of the film. I think that for movies that are trying to creep you out like that, I think it's insanely beneficial. Whereas Synecdoche, New York isn't really going for that same sort of thing. And plus, I mean, like, it's not like Synecdoche spells it out entirely.
Well, but Synecdoche also has like a lot of, and I'm not like arguing because I love Synecdoche. It's like my third favorite movie, but I'm just kind of like confused because like that film obviously also has a lot of like little details as well that you have to like dissect.
Yeah, but by the end of Hereditary, there's nothing left to figure out, really.
Oh, yeah, I guess.
But by the end of Hereditary, there's nothing that you can interpret from that. Like, there's tiny things where you could go like, oh yeah, this part I noticed, sort of thing on a second watch.
So
but there's nothing to discover about it after the ending.
It
really.
beats you over the head.
An interesting video that kind of compared. I don't know how to say this without like kind of spoiling it, but well, no, I guess I can because it's not really a spoiler. I guess because
Sure.
it's not like in the movie. There was someone someone made a really interesting theory comparing this to someone who is transitioning like as a transgender.
Okay. Yeah.
And so there was a lot of interesting metaphors to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. I mean, like, you're always going to be able to determine for yourself whether or not the movie is supposed to be like a metaphor for something else. But in terms of like what is happening in the plot, I think it would have been much better if they left it so that people figured out what was happening, because the visuals of the scene at the end of Hereditary, without spoiling it, what's happening in that scene would be so much scarier if I didn't know exactly why it was happening and what was happening. Like, I would be I would be able to get so much more emotion and an experience out of that if it wasn't explicitly explained to me.
In other words, less is more in that case.
Yeah, for Hereditary, really.
Well, do you think it would have been better if it was like a silent scene and you just look, or if they actually did?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I don't think that the explanation there was necessary at all for like anything that was going on.
That felt very studio.
It was really weird. Like, why does anybody need this spelled out to them? Because every single piece of information that could lead you to that point is within the movie already. There's nothing that they explain at the end that isn't already in the movie. It's just how explicitly they disallow you to figure it out on your own, I guess.
It was like catch up for the.
I suppose he just looks at it in a different way. I don't know.
Well, I love The Shining. There's a lot of like inexplicable shit in that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I love that
like
too.
the bear, like the furry guy.
Boards of Cinema,
Yeah,
did
the
you have a
bear.
final question or comment? Yeah, Boards of Cinema, did you have any final questions or comments before?
Well, yeah, you said on, your Blu-ray video that like, yeah, Citizen Kane is the first movie ever to have like a plot or something like that.
Mhm.
Gone Off the Wind had a plot too. And like
No, yeah, that was a meme. That was a reference to when I said on Sardonicast that most movies before that point were people dicking around trying to figure out what looked cool on camera, even though we.
Mad at you
Yeah, it was. If I regret anything about that, it's mostly that I regret apologizing for it, because I thought that the people making the criticisms against me for saying that were being genuine in their criticisms, and then come to find out that these same people are like literally editing things that I say in ways that I didn't say it, and then making videos saying like that my album was a scam because it was taking a long time. Like I apologize for apologizing about that, because honestly, like going back and listening to it, I don't think it was like that terrible of a thing to say, because what I really meant to say was like, oh yeah, like it improves story structures, which is true, right? That's my understanding. And like, I haven't seen every movie that's ever existed before Citizen Kane. I'm not well versed on older cinema, but I don't pretend to be. Like, at what point in my channel do I pretend to be like, an expert on older movies ever? When have I ever claimed that? I don't. And I don't think that you need to watch. I don't think you need to be like the most well-versed person on older classic cinema history in order to make comments about films today. Sure, there's some context that it'll help you with if somebody is deliberately making like an homage, or, you'd be able to have a frame of reference to be able to make comparisons to in a way. But I don't think it's absolutely necessary. And I think that the whole, it was a really stupid, dumb, overblown controversy for no reason. So I made a meme about it. So I memed it. Yeah. Anyway, Alex, did you have any final?
Yeah, it ended up me just ranting. I just really want to hear before this Sardonicast your honest thoughts about Grave of the Fireflies.
In general, I really enjoyed it. I was surprised, without spoiling anything, I was surprised that the beginning wasn't brought up again at the end, because I think that the beginning of the film is powerful enough to be reincorporated, but it wasn't. I enjoyed it a lot. I'm gonna have to save a lot of this for the Sardonicast discussion, really, because there's some things that I can't really say without spoiling it, and that's a spoiler discussion there.
I mean, the first scene happens pretty much after everything else. It's kind of weird to spoil this movie because of this. It like spoils itself.
Yeah, but that doesn't. I mean, yeah, but it does. Not necessarily everything I want to talk about
People often
is
like
just.
to come into the movie knowing the less, as least as they possibly can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, like it's
thank
a
you.
really.
Yeah, okay, whatever.
I enjoyed it a lot. I'll
Great.
watch it again at some point. Kiet, did you have any?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask. I just wanted to see. I want to check in and just see how you're doing, just generally.
Generally, how am I doing? Could be better. I don't know. It's been a weird month. I haven't been as productive as I'd liked. There's been some random shit kind of just impeding my mental abilities this month, but Yeah, we'll see. We'll see
Sorry
how
to
things
hear.
go, and I'm excited for COVID to be over eventually. I would like to leave my house at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll get better, but thank you.
That's good to hear, man.
Thank you for being honest with us.
No worries.
I don't like when YouTubers like have to pretend as if they're not people and keep up some sort of persona. It's great that you're
Yeah.
like, people need to remember YouTubers are people and they're experiencing their own things in life.
This is true.
Unless they're vloggers.
Salamancer, did you have any final questions?
Are there any
comments?
horror films on 4K you can recommend?
Technically, The Witch is on 4K. I bought that recently. The Shining's on 4K.
Already have that.
Hereditary's on
It's
4K.
the Thing?
Hereditary, correct. The Thing will probably
The
be
Thing.
coming to 4K at some point. I'd be
it already
surprised. Is it? No
I looked
way.
for it in 4K, but I couldn't find it.
Yeah, I don't
only
think
found
it
on
is.
Blu-ray.
The Thing
I watched it
2011?
yesterday with my sister.
Oh, how was it?
Oh, Alien is also 4K.
Oh yeah, Alien's probably at
Ooh.
4K now.
Oh, that's a good one. I should order Alien. Yeah, thank you.
All right, yeah, that's about all I can think of. It's not a huge library,
All right.
but pretentious
Dawn of the Dead is
bloat.
on 4K too.
Did you have any final questions or comments?
I just want to say congrats on getting the album out. It's
Thank you.
fantastic. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Bootleg Mufasa. Did you have any questions or comments?
Yes.
Oh no.
One question. Have you tried D4 Dark Dreams Died Twice?
Yes.
I don't know what it's called.
Yeah, and I enjoyed it a lot. There's videos on my gaming channel of it. Yeah, unfortunately, I wish it could have been, the whole thing could have been finished, but it wasn't. That's probably my favorite sweary, honestly.
Mine as well.
Yeah. Yeah, his biggest mistake was using Microsoft Xbox for that. Because if it was on PS4, I'm sure it would have been popular enough to keep going. It's just like nobody bought the Xbox One, and then on top of that, no Xbox One users were looking for a weird Japanese game in the downloadable section. Whereas if it was on a PS4, I'm sure it would have been more popular. Anyway.
Yeah.
Thanks
again.
Oh, thank you.
You're a lot of fun.
Thank you so much.
What's your Twitch schedule so I can come on sometime?
I stream games every Sunday, starting from around somewhere around like noon Pacific. Usually been around like 1 p.m. Pacific is when I start, and then just go until I fall asleep, basically. And then throughout the week, there is no schedule, and I just randomly stream editing and shit, or exercise streams.
All right, sweet.
Thank you.
Awesome. Keep it real.
You as well. Sketch Screen, did you have any final questions or comments?
Oh yeah, is my mic okay?
Yes. Sounds great.
Yeah.
Oh good. I just want to
More
say
than
it's,
okay.
it's been an absolute honor to actually come here to actually meet you.
Oh,
I've
thank
tried to
you.
get on here for a while.
Thank you so much.
Great. And I've been listening to your music. It's been really good.
Thank
I
you.
really enjoyed
I'm
it.
glad you enjoyed it.
And on that topic,
Mhm.
have you ever considered doing more music videos for your songs on your album?
Yeah, there's one I would like to get made, and it was going to kind of, and I was in contact with like an animator from Russia, and then they just like ghosted, so I think that one fell through. But we'll see if I can find somebody else to
Wasn't that
to
going to
do
be
it.
stop motion?
Yeah, it was. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm gonna try and promote my album a bit more and see if, how it grows and what happens with that, and that might be able to influence what I do or how I do it or when I do it. So, all right, and then
Yeah, thank you for the stream.
Thank you. There was one more and they left, but oops, maybe they didn't want to say anything. All right, thank you so much for hanging out. I'll probably be doing some editing, streaming at some point tonight. I have to figure out some stuff first, but thank you for your support, and I'll catch you next month, possibly.
Thank you, Adam.
See ya.
Thank you so much.
Adam. Take it easy.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.